Mhm.
Yeah, 5 minutes, guys, and let people come in, and we'll continue.
Got
So
that
just
intro
just
handy?
just chill for now.
You have your intro handy?
Mhm.
No yeah, intro. 5 minutes, guys, and let people come in, and we'll continue. Yeah, if we use the intro, it'd make a lot of noise bending my microphone into the earpiece, so I won't use it today. I can add that later.
Mhm.
I can't see the screen at the moment, but how many people's in? Do you want to start now, Cats, or wait a bit?
Well, there's 5 people watching, so we can start if you like.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Uh, Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. It's gonna be a different stream today, but thanks for coming. I'll give it to FPV.
Right, cheers, Cats. Different format tonight, people. No updates on the research as yet, but we do have a presentation coming up. What we're doing tonight is a little bit of who are we? You don't know us, we don't really know you. So we're going to introduce ourselves kind of through a different format tonight. Before we start that, I'll just get everyone to state their screen name and country they're from. So I'll start with this. Hello everyone, this is FPV Angel. I'm from England, UK. Over to the next guy or lady to carry on.
I'm One Conscience. I'm from the United States.
And I'm from the United States.
Over to you, Jimbo. You muted, I think.
I'm Jimbo from Ottawa, Canada. A.
Okay.
Right, for the record, the current date is May the 11th, 2018 on the Gregorian calendar. The Assyrian calendar is 6768, the Coptic calendar is 1734 to 1735, Vikram Samvat 2074 to 2075, the Byzantine calendar 7526 to 7527. I think we can all agree here that no one even knows our correct date, right? Because they are all over the place. Right, a little bit about us. We are not under any control of any agency. We're not told to do what to do by anyone. This is our own research. We will not be controlled. The truth as we find it is made into video updates. You either understand it or you don't. It isn't hard to follow, hopefully. You will find we're just ordinary everyday people whom got together in the search for truth. So a little bit about our research. With this research, you see, I found out very early on it was something very special. Because when you start looking into scriptures and such, you start to see a pattern of warnings for future generations. Not only that, but I could connect references to certain things in scripture to the Nazca Mandala. Just what had I discovered here? It helped me realise what had happened in the early 1900s and onwards, as my first video details. Now this video and research, when I was working to make it, I realised it came with certain preconditions. It had to be able to reference the workings of our world as scripturally accurate as possible, all scriptures and beliefs by the way, if possible, because you really have to look at everything. Add to that, it had to match real world data, which it does when using the map series produced using a clever algorithm to square the images back from a warped ball perspective. The resultant map is like an extended Mercator map, which the Mercator map has clearly been derived from. On top of all this research needed the right people working on it. We would be very naive to think there is no danger involved looking into this. This is not a game. And it is because of this that I have kept as anonymous as possible and kept a low profile until the first video release. Before this release, I shared some of my research with people within the YouTube Flat Earth community, which didn't really work out. They either never seen the connections, it overwhelmed them and or their beliefs, or they realised the implications and backed off, which I can't blame them for. I also had to tell these fine people I research with there may be dangers and that they can walk away from it now if they so wish. This is a precondition. It would be unfair of me not to warn them. So you can see the people within this research team have their right to their privacy as much as possible as far as I'm concerned. So what we're doing tonight is giving you a chance to learn a little bit more about us. We have no idea how many people have been following or even understanding our research, and our research which we present to the world as the truth as we find decoded or translated. We don't know who is friend or foe, and that isn't just within this community, but the realm over. We have a very important presentation to do in the near future, and after that we really don't know what the future holds. So this is also a chance for us to convey our message, perhaps not just for the here and now, but for future generations to hear what we have to say, should it ever come to that. A message from the past that needs decoded in an unknown future, as we find ourselves doing today, it would seem by all accounts. So what we've done, I've asked each of the people on the panel to ask each of us 5 questions each, plus a mystery question. What this means is we don't know what we do know, what the 5 of the questions are, and the reason I chose to do this is because with these questions I feel you will learn more about us, as the questions will invoke various emotions related to our research, which will give you a better idea of how we feel working on this. The mystery question is unknown to each of us. After this, people in the live chat can also ask questions they may have their minds if they so wish. This is our story, and in our research things can become very surreal, I can tell you. So we'll get on with the questions. So question number 1 from me to the rest of the panel would be, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Now don't forget people, I'm not asking you to reveal personal information, just a little bit that you want people on YouTube to know about yourself. So question to Cats, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, not personal, right? Well, I'm an easygoing person. I'm a kind person. And I get along with everybody, really. Of course, we all know I live in the United States, in Arizona. Um, I just hope everybody likes me too, because you know sometimes you know things can happen. But either way, I'm a really great person to get along with everybody, and that's me.
Final answer? Yeah.
That's the short answer.
You're very quiet to me, Cats. I don't know if it's me or your end, but you sound very
Oh,
quiet.
okay. No, can you hear me?
It might be my end. So that's question one answered for you, yes?
Uh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hold on. Well, everyone mute until it's your turn for a question. So you can mute, Cats. You've answered, yeah?
Uh, there's another thing. I like sports. I play sports. I like hiking. I like camping. I like hunting. Uh, of course, I like the outdoors, basically, the whole thing. That's it. Okay, that's it.
Right, thanks for that, Cats. Yep, same question to One Conscience. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, hello. I go by One Conscience. Like I said, I'm from the United States, Illinois specifically. I made this my screen name because I truly believe we are all one energy emitted from one source. I'm a passionate truth seeker, and I have dedicated all of my spare time to seeking this ultimate truth, researching it. I guess just try to make the world a better place. I like to be outside. I like outside things. That's about it.
Final answer?
Yes.
Right, thanks for that one. Same question to Dimbo. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, born in Ontario here, and always been into taking things apart and putting them back together and wanting to know how stuff works. And I like practical and simple. And that's about all there is to me. Just I don't like not knowing something, so I've learned a way around that. Find out.
Final answer?
And final answer, yeah.
Yeah, nice one, mate.
Thinker.
Yes, we've got to be, haven't we? We've got to be able to think. Me now, tell you a little bit about me. Okay. I've got a few hobbies. I like flying drones. I do a bit of metal detecting. I like the outdoors. I like the countryside. Not much else really. I keep it simple. I've only got a few hobbies. I like the internet. I use it for educational purposes. I try and learn what I can. If I'm not learning, I get bored quick and I leave. So yeah, I like to learn things, new things all the time. So flat Earth, that's been a big learning curve, but it doesn't take long. Final answer. I'll pass the questions over now to Jimbo. You can ask your first question, Jim. You might be muted, Jim. I don't hear you.
Oh, um, My thing is mostly related to the study of, what we've been doing, how not necessarily just how it relates to Enoch and stuff, but knowing what we know through these studies, or, being pretty darn sure, if you had the choice of going one of two places, either above to visit the Rakia or the shield, the dome, or whatever you want to call it, or going below to see some of these machines below, which would you rather choose? The view from above or see what's down below?
Who are you asking first?
My, I guess you found the angels down there, I guess. Figured out they were machines, and well, why not?
Yeah, I would definitely want to visit down below. I want to see the underworld. I want the Enoch tour. Yeah, definitely below. Final answer.
I'm the same way. Below, because it has to. I'm interested in below because it connects to the heavens anyways. So the more we go below, the more we will know what's happening in heaven as well.
Excellent answer, I think.
I guess I'm the weird one. I have to say I want to go above, but only because I would like to see everything going on all at once from the above view looking down into it. So, and if you're getting that kind of a tour, well, I would imagine the topography is going to be gone and you're going to see everything going on. That's my answer.
Same question for you, Jim.
Yeah, I think I'd want to see from above down, honestly. It'd certainly be nice to go down below and see what's there. But if I had the only the option of seeing from above what's doing the luminaries and, the moon, the portals, all that stuff, see the layout of the continents the way they actually are and stuff, maybe even get a peek beyond, I think I'd go for the Rakia view, the Rakia tour.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Nice one.
Mhm.
Where we at? Whose go is it? I think it's, yeah, your first question,
How
Cats.
long have you been working on this project? Me, because I don't know if I did. The question is, how long have you been working on this project at PV?
How long have I been working on this project? A year plus, definitely over a year now, on this Nazca Lines and onwards project. Final answer.
One.
Good question. I'd have to say, what, 8 months, maybe? Since maybe fall last year.
Jimbo.
Hey, that's a tough one for me because it's almost like a sequential question. In the recent past, probably really actually only 3 years, like into the flat Earth and, well, whatever questions of at least terrestrially what's going on. Because I didn't care too much for the luminaries and stuff. I had this thing where they're lights. I mean, I don't get all worked up over lights. They're pretty and stuff. Um, People had this SWO and then that Rahu gonna terminate us all, or one of these other stars with its own planetary system coming to zap us all there. But it never happens, right? So for flat Earth, at least 3 years, but what preceded it really is a lifetime, and it's probably the same for everyone. But for me, when I was like 12 years old, I was reading, von Daniken and, the spaceships of Ezekiel and all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, it was in 2011 I found the giant shrimp, that 1,000-foot long lobster family creature that you could park a semi-trailer and back up into its head with it. It's just, I think in a sense, everyone's on the same path. It's just been from the time we're young, so covered over and masked with all this noise and interference that it keeps you off this path and the path towards, understanding we have a creator and this is his world, not ours, and stuff like that. But all the smoke and mirrors, just can't keep that fact from, being exposed, whether it's to one or many. But anyway, end of survey says, end of, what was the other word? Let's go. I'm done. Ring the bell.
Final answer.
What was that?
Final answer.
Final answer. That's the one.
Hey, can I just add something
Okay,
to that before we move on? Because you just reminded me of something, Jim. That Ezekiel's flying machines. Now, what that Amaro Biglino decoded from the Vatican, remember, he said he flew as if on a horse. So he wasn't in the sky, he was travelling along the ground on a vehicle, it is describing, which to them looked
Or
like
like
flying
a
because the
hovercraft
guy,
almost.
yeah, his legs weren't on the ground, he was travelling like on a horse, which he called flying. So they weren't up
Yeah,
in the sky. It makes sense he was riding on the rear of a cherubim.
In Star Wars, they had these kind of hovercraft that just, instead of cars with wheels, they'd just hop in, they'd rock a bit, and then they could move forward or whatever. They were like magnetically repelled and just a few feet off the ground. But, I think these things, like even some planes can take off and use an air cushion between the ground and the bottom of the craft to, float on or to, move over. So it could have been, able to travel along the ground suspended and go higher if it wanted to or needed to. Hard to say. Could have
Final,
been just one.
final elaboration.
Yeah. Or a machine that could pull apart and become many smaller units. Imagine like a big Sikorsky helicopter that could just unhook from one front to the and divide into two helicopters or something. I mean, we could actually make one that would work.
No, I was just comparing it to what Ezekiel was trying to describe, but you just reminded me. People think they were flying in the sky. I don't think that was the case. I think they were just moving on the vehicle along the ground or along track work, I should say.
I have found in Egypt what looks like wings and eagles and stuff. They really are the cherubim with the inward four faces and the inward turning wings and stuff that are well depicted.
Ooh, I want to
In
see
some
them.
of the, yeah, I'll show you one. I forgot to.
Yeah, I'll keep that for later.
Yeah, juicy stuff. But yeah, every little
Final
thing
elaboration.
coming out, Winner survey
what
says,
que-
and
what
what's
question
the
will be
word?
on?
Yes.
Who asked
My
that
final
question?
answer.
Okay, let me answer that question too for myself. About working on the project from the beginning. Of course, FPV and I started with the other 3 people more. But to be more involved with this research has been, I say, like a year, over a year, somewhere around that. But started with FPV from the beginning, so which I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm afraid I used to torture cats a bit, which was good really because she knew scripture and I didn't. Elaborating a little bit more on that, I think the right way to approach this is throw everything away that you've ever learned, look at the model, look at the construct, and then look at scripture, and you will see what it's telling you. You have to see the construct first, otherwise you're not going to see it. That's the best approach to it, I think. Right, but where were we?
Okay, it's trying to ask a question first.
I think it's Juan's turn to ask her first question,
Yeah,
wasn't it? I can't remember.
Okay.
yeah, it is.
Okay. My first question is, how did you How did you even find out or hear about the flat Earth in the first place?
Uh, um, I'll answer. Like to get to flat Earth, I came through politics and to flat Earth, which is there's a lot of connection with politics and flat Earth. Um, that's how I got to flat Earth, and I began to see flat Earth through another hangout, which is it was a news hangout, which is live, and I began to see some videos there, and very interesting. But like I said, through politics, I found flat Earth.
Final answer.
Mhm.
Okay. FPV?
Pretty much the same as cats. I've followed politics. I've followed politics for quite a while. Seen all the bad going on and could never work out what the hell's going on. Why are they always making these bad decisions, politicians? So you try and fathom that
Yeah.
out, and you're looking around the world, conspiracies. You're looking at everything, trying to translate what the hell is going on in the world. And so a lot of people obviously follow politics like we were, and yeah, we were in a news stream, Cats and I, quite a popular, busy news stream, and we managed to get the stream owner to stop playing some of the flat Earth videos, because when you're watching politics, you notice a lot of these high-profile characters always keep going to Antarctica, and it doesn't cross your mind at first. I mean, penguin tours must be fun, but then you start seeing flat Earth popping up everywhere, and there's always references to Antarctica. So eventually you look at them. When I first found it, I thought, what the hell century are these people living in, flat Earth? As you do, and then you look at it and hey, there's more to this than meets the eye, and then you start developing a big picture in your mind, what's really going on, what's really been hidden. And that's where my research started, because I wanted to know if they're lying about the shape of the world, one, what does it look like, and two, how does it work? That's what my two questions would be. So that's my final answer. I had to find those two questions. I had to get them answered.
Very good answer. And Jim?
Oh boy. I remember my favorite Looney Tune was probably Yosemite Sam and Bugs Bunny. Well, Bugs Bunny did one episode where Columbus was being commissioned by Ferdinand and Isabella to, well, sail the world, and they're having an argument because one is saying the world is round like a ball, and then, well, I guess it's Isabella grabs a mass or a hammer and smacks him on the head and makes his head flat. Says the world is a flat like your head. But yeah, it probably is, really for all of us, the brainwashing, it's always been there, flat earth, for everyone. But for as far as this research and all this, modern times, up to date was probably Jaron. I was watching him for his moon critiques and other stuff. And eventually he turned into Globebusters. Well, I don't know if he turned into Globebusters or was on the show or whatever. Just anyway, Jaron was basically, kind of a ticket into it, sort of, through Globebusters first season. Final answer.
All right.
Final
Thank
answer.
you.
Okay. If, does research contradict, hold on, contradict the mainstream and narrative?
Who's the question for, Cats?
Oh my gosh. Does contradict the mainstream narrative?
Yeah, I think you've got your watch page open. You're going to have to mute it.
Yeah, I think it's the question, does the research contradict the mainstream narrative?
Yeah, I just asked who the question was for. Do you want to answer it first, Cats?
Oh my gosh. It does. It does.
Final answer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's the final answer, I think. got me there. All I know it does, basically, because the mainstream stream doesn't say anything about what's really going on. Again, it's mind control and brainwashing. So yeah, it does for sure.
Well, um, it if I can answer that one too, it definitely does contradict 100%, 360 turnaround literally of everything. One example is we're taught geology of rocks and a whole verbose science around it, when in actuality it is anatomy, and what we're looking at are not, in essence, always volcanic mountains and rocks. We're looking at fallen titans and giants that are petrified. So we're taught one thing, and we can look right at it and believe what we're taught when it's absolutely 100% different from what we're taught. And that's not just mountains and anatomy and geology being like totally washed over, it's other stuff too. They've done it
So
with
in
everything.
other words, in other words, our history is all as well what's really going on.
If they're saying it's history, it's probably a constructed lie. None of us can truly verify
Yeah.
any of it. The science of the past, the characters that are supposed to have fought and done these wars, even, I don't know. There's no real proof of an Alexander the Great. There's no real proof of Aristotle. There's no real proof of any of these Greek philosophers, of Socrates. There's no real proof of any of them.
Which brings the mainstream lying to us as well. I mean,
Well, you know, a lot of the ones that have been brought into our consciousness are the ones that have some propaganda value to a story or a theme. And we have people like the science theme that they play now. We have a wizard with a stick, and he waves it, sticks it in the mud. Everyone focuses on it, watches him do his math and magic. 1 year later, stick in the mud somewhere else. Same math. Wow, we're proving a flat surface is a ball. It's a wizard's trick, like Coriolis and the lady with the bucket at the border or the equator. It's trickery. Feather falling and a hammer, you know, it's trickery. It's words. A rocket that's going like 200 miles an hour, or just CGI, they're saying 2,000 kilometers an hour now. Oh, 25, it's up to 17,000 miles an hour. Bullshit, it's a slug. Why do people believe that that slug and that slow moving behemoth that they see is accelerating at literally thousands of yards a minute of acceleration, going to breakneck speeds faster than a bullet? And people believe it because now it, you know, this far and this speed. Oh, bullshit.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Good answer, yeah. Hey, you could elaborate all day on that, couldn't you? You really could.
Never,
Same question to you then, Mon. What was the question? Does it challenge mainstream, was it?
yeah, it's
I'll let you answer next one.
God.
Yeah, I'd have to say, yeah, everything. I mean, absolutely everything that we learn is bullshit. Oops, excuse me. And it's a lie. And I apologize.
There you go for it,
And
lad.
then we have to learn everything over to figure it all out, how it really works. And that's my final answer.
My answer would be pretty much the same as the other people's. It challenges everything we've ever been taught: history, geography, geology, science. You could, like you said, you could go on and on. Yes, it's all been a big lie. Final answer.
Yeah, we can't continue with the lies to the generations that are coming. We need to let them know the truth. And starting, now with flat Earth and other that we've been discovering as well. You know, with the
Well,
you know, the truth.
maybe it's a good time just to hint to people that are listening there that, you know, we're not Nostradamus group or nothing there, but with this Antikythera machine, you know, give me a date and I can tell you when the next eclipse will be from that date or the one that preceded it. Any date in the future or the past, you know. A 5-year-old could use this device to tell you every lunar eclipse and solar eclipse for the rest of your life. A 5-year-old could turn the handle on this device and give you precise dates and times for every eclipse upcoming. And we depend on NASA and one guru who mucks up everything and makes up nonsense about the complications of eclipses and all this bullshit. When a toy, a navigation tool in the hands of a 5-year-old could give you the dates for the next 1,000 years. It's just amazing where we are. We're nowhere. We should all be very ashamed. But, you know, eat some shame, but move past it. You know, accept that, you know, the moon, everything around us is mechanical. This device couldn't predict year after year, decade after decade in a cycle, all of these motions unless they were, you know, predictably part of a machine. So,
Pre-programmed.
you know,
Final
a
answer?
few gears. Yeah, final answer. A few gears and a handle, a knob to turn like an egg beater, and you can know where the moon and the sun, whatever's going to be anytime in the future and where it was in the past for eclipses or anything. Something's wrong with NASA, something's wrong with us, you know?
Not for long, mate. Not for long.
Final answer.
Mhm.
So that's the round of the first questions there, was it?
The second, well, the second, since so I don't know who's next to ask the question. I think it's you, FPV. Mhm.
I think that was Kat's second question, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was.
Who's had second question so far? I'm getting lost.
But that was the second question that it came from me. So
Have you had your
whoever
second
has the
one,
second
Jim, and one?
question.
Jimbo and one, have you said your second questions yet?
I have a simple one, so I might as well get this out for my second one. If you could go to Greenland to see the plate and where it's exposed and stuff, would you go?
Oh yes, yeah. You couldn't stop me. Final answer, yes, I would go.
I would.
Yeah, me too.
Where's
It'd
the
be nice
boarding
to take
gate?
a vacation.
Just need a carry-on bag.
Yep. Change of clothes. Let's go.
I forgot my toothbrush.
Yeah.
You can probably buy one there. It's fine.
You had your second question one, yeah? I mean, you've said it, yeah? Your second question.
Me? No.
Oh, right, you go next and then it's mine then.
Okay. The second question I have for everyone is, what was it specifically that you saw in this work, which it would have been in the beginning, to realize that it's the truth about our world versus the, so to speak, mainstream flat Earth model?
Tough question.
I know.
Yeah, it was more of a build-up to it. This particular model, it was a build-up, so piecing together the pieces needed and the chance meeting with Ceres with his map was probably it for me when I realised the two were actually going to work together. Final answer.
For me, it was when the rectangles were identified as metal plates and the actual, you know, hardware of the sun was located on the ground. That was the big one for me. Straightening up the aurora borealis and seeing a pinball machine or an oscilloscope, a flyback, transformers, the setup, whatever you want to call it. That was the moment that I knew the map was tangible and eventually even mappable accurately. So that was the moment for me.
Well, for me is when everything started to connect with the earthquakes, with the halos, and the electricity, everything that brought it all together. Very interesting, and of course, I learned a lot from that. But yeah, everything that one does in FPV and James, that's what I like is that when everything came together to understand what's going on underneath. So that is very, that really got me, to get more involved with the research.
Final answer?
Finance and
Nice answer, yeah.
For me, it was that moment whenever I saw the original 0.0 point, and I had put Eden at that point. Actually, it was a simple moment, but it gave me a very overwhelming feeling.
I remember that moment one because you were quite shocked, I think, when you realised it was the 0.0 I was using.
I was. I was. So
okay.
So
Third
that's the round of
question.
the second questions. Was oh no, I've still got mine to ask. My question number 2 for you
Yeah.
people and myself. How did you feel when you knew flat Earth was real, and then when you discovered this research? Kind of two questions there, but I think that's fair because I still want to know how you people feel. You found one truth and then discovered something else. So, question to you, cats: how did you feel when you knew flat Earth was real, and then when you started seeing this research being discovered?
Okay. Let's do one question for what was that
How did you
again?
feel when you realised flat Earth was actually a real item?
I asked, well, oh my Lord. I felt very surprised basically because, again, going back that we've been oh my brainwashed Lord. and mind control, that the way our earth is made, oh gosh, just the level of flat earth, the water and guess, oh gosh, FPV, these questions.
Right. The second part was, how did you feel when you started seeing this research? How did it make you feel seeing there was a little bit more to it than just it being flat?
I felt like, like you were saying about it connects to the word of God. Okay. It connects to the Bible. And what really brought my attention is how it's coming together with his word. Like for instance, the 12 tribes, um, the four corners, which is we know it's also named the halos. I mean, it really got to me to understand. And FPV, I was against it at first, but knowing it at everything that I know, it really makes sense to me about it, about the research to the flat earth and finance.
Final answer, and a lovely one at that. Yeah. Same question to. Let's see now. Who shall I pick on? Jimbo. How did you feel when you knew flat Earth was real? Your true feelings, what you felt, and then when you discovered
Well,
this research.
with the flat Earth, truly, it was actually feeling a little angry and anger more than anything, and then just dealing with that one thing is just you get really aggravated. But that was a hill of beans, truly. compared to, and the only thing to call it was like mind numbing. Coming into this research, looking into a few of the things that I did and that we all did collectively and stuff, there were moments in recognizing the scale of some things, like where the grids extend from here, just how vastly far it possibly is. All this stuff together, it's overwhelming for the mind, for your average person. And I'm just an average person in a lot of ways, but it floors you. It's mind numbing. It's shock. There's no other way to put it when it all starts to sink in, and just like I say, the flat earth was nothing. It was a hill of beans compared to what's greater, and this is greater. I mean, just um it's I don't know what to
it's words you
say.
can't give it, isn't it? I know what you're saying. You can't
Yeah,
give it the words it needs.
yeah, it's just beyond what these flat earth channels and the lunacy that they're arguing about, and the nonsense, and the, well, like today, for I guess 2 hours they were doing the let's analyze the dog's tail. And what it is they were looking at the split particle and light beams or rays, and how particle and waves differentiate and stuff. Now, you can't even have that wave unless it was generated somewhere. But they've shown, let's not look at the generation or anything else about light. Let's just look at the very end of it, what's wiggling at the very end, and fight about it for 2 hours today, and 2 hours another time, and 8 hours on a hangout here. They're all wagging the dog. They're looking at the tail and forgetting about, the rest of the front. Like I say, they want to, look at something like that. Well, as long as they're looking at the dog's tail, they're not looking at the light generation, at atomic absorption, or secondary emission, and they're all wah 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 about the tail. Well, it's like, I think it's in their best interest. Just, I mean, they've got a lot invested. They have businesses, marketing and other stuff to, not lose on. And most of this so-called flat earth community that doesn't want any naysayers or critique, because, who would critique science or the value of it or an experiment? No one dare criticize someone doing a scientific experiment for flat earthers' money there, wherever it may be, and they're untouchable. So we cannot criticize anyone who's, in the flat earth community doing anything, because that's, anyway, it's a nasty, poisoned waters, these flat earth channels. And they're going to be selling their snake oil and their whatever they're selling, and redundancy, and just, going round and round, not actually going forward. Here we're, and we will not just be offering, we'll be showing people how to have their own little calculator for every eclipse for the rest of their lives. They wouldn't need NASA. They click a button, set the date, and, you'll see when the eclipses are, just turn the handle a little more. Oh, there, daytime and hour. Well, how can you ask for more? And it's just a bunch of gears in a little box. I mean, who needs NASA if they're bullcrapping about all this stuff? And a 5-year-old could make all these predictions with a toy? Who's kidding who? So you want to be a flat earther and argue about the moon now, and it's made of cheese, and oh, it's a crystal, it's self-illuminating, the moonlight is cold, and all this bullshit? Stick with it. The new age nonsense, whatever you want, Think, I'd rather have my little, eclipse calculator and know how it works, and maybe my little astrolabe and know how it works and be able to use it, and, a little sextant, and, actually have some money where my mouth is, a little knowledge too, behind it. Like I say, I don't look at the dog's tail to figure out, there's a tummy and a mouth and teeth at the other end, When I look at light, I don't look at, where it hits. I look at where it came from, how it got there, how it was light created in the first place. Then you can ask, what's happening to it the rest of the way. Wave energy. Anyway, I digress. Final answer.
I'll answer. Nice one, Jim. Well elaborated. What was the question again? I get lost with the questions already.
Who asked
It was my
the
question number 2, wasn't it? So Jimbo's answered it. You answered it, Cats, have you? Or I can't remember who's answered now.
Mike,
Yeah, I think you answered it
Is it-
first. Yeah, you answered it. It must be your turn one, is it? Yeah, I think it's one's turn.
My turn?
Yeah, hold on, I'll repeat the question for you.
Okay.
How did you feel when you knew flat Earth was real, and then when you discovered this research? So you've got two events there. So I want to know how you feel about these two separate events that are actually linked.
Okay, well, when I first learned about flat Earth, my first thought was no way. Then I started, watching videos and stuff and realizing that, these were intelligent people, so they were making a lot of sense. I was mad, I was confused, so I wanted to learn everything I could. I wanted to figure out how the hell this happened. How did we get lied to?
and another thing,
on such a scale.
Another thing too, I forgot to mention, because one just said it, is that we don't sleep when you get into flat Earth. I know that
No.
for a fact.
No, you don't sleep well.
You don't sleep.
I
You
had
just
a
want
lot
to
of
continue.
yeah, and earbuds at work. I was listening to stuff. I
So
wanted to
part 2
learn.
of the... Sorry, carry on.
Okay. So, well, what I wanted to do was I wanted to put earthquakes onto the flat map. I had never seen it done. Watching everyone's videos and this and that, and I wanted to, I tried to share it with people, chat rooms, the Discord chats and stuff, but I guess I found it quite disappointing. Nobody was interested really. Then I came into this work and I was excited that someone wanted to hear what I had to say and that it was lining up with everything that was being done. I just had an overwhelming feeling that this is what I was seeking. I was seeking truth. And then I came on and, upon all you guys.
And one thing I find is it's amazingly not complicated, Like the earthquake information is very straightforward, following these lines and these paths, and even the angel technology controlling kind of magnetic stuff over the. It's not overcomplicated or oversimplified. It's graspable for most people, and it's a physical reality of what's around us, and what's happening. Everything from solar quakes to the depths of the quakes, and there being switches and transferring energy, and just it's all there.
Any more elaborations, one, or is that your final? You can elaborate more if you like.
No.
We're not on a time scale.
I just
Oh,
want
yeah.
everyone to understand that the way I felt personally was I feel like I was kind of pushed in this way. And I feel like the push got stronger the more we got into it. And if there's anything, divine intervention, I guess that this is a perfect example of it. And that's all I have to say.
I would have to agree. It can't be by chance, this, can it? Surely it can't be. It shouldn't be this easy, but actually I've been so long it is. It's them overcomplicating what the hell is really going on to create an empire. They've created an empire out of trying to hide what's really happening, and it takes an empire to hide it.
It takes brilliance too to turn, you know, what are petrified giants into rocks, volcanic, sedimentary, metamorphic, and all these other nice names of rocks. It's just an amazing effort that was put into it.
Final answer one.
Final answer. Sorry.
Question
Yep.
Okay, I think it's
three.
my turn then. How did I feel when a new
Oh, you
flat Earth?
haven't answered?
Yeah, I haven't answered yet. It's my turn now. So I'll answer it now. How did I feel when I knew flat Earth was real? It took me about 5 minutes to realise it was the truth. It didn't take me long because I had suspicions about things in the past. Being an amateur radio operator and using directional antennas, some things weren't making some sense to me, where these locations were supposed to be. They didn't seem to line up. But you know, you put that at the back of your mind. So yeah, when you found it was flat and you look more, you get angry, and then you think, well, we're gonna get past this now, you know. So I hung around in the flat Earth community on YouTube for, I would say, over 2 years, and not using this account either. I've used two separate accounts in YouTube to look into flat Earth. This is my flat Earth account. The previous two were more political accounts, because I was doing hit pieces on politicians and institutions that are hiding this. I just didn't know who the enemy was. You were fighting a faceless enemy, politically doing hit pieces, trying to make sense of what the hell was going on. So yeah, I got angry, very angry. And then I realised who the enemy was. The globalists. The globalists are the enemy of humanity.
Yeah.
And then, when you discover this research, wow. I still can't give this the words it needs. I'm just speechless at what we're looking at. It overwhelms you. Jim was right. I think it'll affect you for life once you look into this and realise what you're looking at. It's going to change you for life. So yeah, when I discovered this research, I smiled. I really smiled, because I thought, well, now I can see what's really going on. I've got a big piece of the big picture. And it's just progressed from there. It's got better and better. And you know, teaming up with Jimbo and One, this research is unstoppable, guys. We see it all. We really do. We can see the big picture. We see what the politics is all about. We're looking at the political map is what we're displaying. That's what we're looking at.
I can look at a sleeping giant and know where its heart is.
That's my final answer for my question number 2.
It's terrible.
Okay, so now, did everybody put their second question? So we can go to the third.
Yeah, that was the last of questions, number 2. So third question. Who wants to start with the third question?
I will. Mhm. Okay, do you think there are other realms like ours? I will answer mine first. I really do believe there is. There's another realm. For sure. Like ours, I'm not sure, but there is realms. I think. I don't know how many, but there is. So that's my final answer.
That's your final answer. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Who's next, Cats? That's the question for everyone.
One. So, do you think there's another realms like ours?
Yes, yes, I do. Um, I don't think they're like ours. I think ours is ours, and we're in this halo system. Um, but I think there's other places out there outside of it. I don't know what it holds. I mean, we all can have our own ideas of what it holds. Can we get there? You know, is it possible? I have an idea that, you know, and it's just an idea. Possibly little windows can open at certain times with certain alignments or signals. Who knows? But I believe there's other realms, yes.
Van Lancer?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll answer that next if you want. Is there more realms? Yes, I believe there really is. Because looking at the Nazca lines, if you look southeast several thousand miles, you will come to the Atacama Giant. It's another giant geoglyph. Very similar geoglyphs to what you see at Nazca. Now, on our world map, that would be well beyond what we see at South Antarctica, well beyond there, going southeast. So it tells me there's something in that direction really worth looking at. So yes, definitely more realms. Final answer.
Hey, Jimbo.
I think more than one, with much more area north, south, east, and west of what we call south, north, east, and west. Just beyond imagination, million miles beyond each way. It's
Is that
big.
final answer?
Final answer is huge. It's huge.
That's
Okay,
Kat's
one
question number.
more question.
That was your number 3 question, Kat's, yeah?
3.
Alright,
Okay.
over to you, one, if you want to ask number 3.
Number 3. Okay. Okay. Um, what, if anything, subjects or information have you learned since doing all of this that maybe you didn't have any knowledge of before?
Question to who?
Well, let's start with you.
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't say I had any knowledge before. You know, I didn't do well at school really. I didn't stick in. I wanted to just leave school and go and work and earn some pennies. So no, I wouldn't say I stuck in at school, which I think, same with scripture. I never looked at the Bible until I started looking at this. So I've learnt a lot more in the last year than I've probably learned in a lifetime. A hell of a lot more about how things work, what's here and possibly beyond, science, every subject we've looked at. Yeah, I've learnt a little bit more of everything, and that's a hell of a lot in the space of a year, compared to what I learned at school. You would never learn any of this at school. It'd be impossible to teach it all at school, I think, which is a shame, We should all be taught this, the truth, and how things really work. So yeah, final answer.
Okay. Can I answer my question now?
Of course you can.
I've learned everything. I mean, literally everything. I've learned from chemistry to, alchemy to astrology to geology to,
Hmm.
you know, that's all I have to say really. I mean, it's everything. I've learned everything as well. The thing I learned in school was how to get bullied and how to dress well and stuff like that. So I agree. I wish we could all learn this in schools.
Wow,
My final
that would be
answer.
an amazing subject at school, wouldn't it? World
Mhm.
mechanics. Yeah, sign me up.
Okay.
I learned a lot, a lot, a lot. I got more knowledge. It's very interesting how we come together to learn more of this research about flat Earth. My knowledge I want to give to those children that are behind us so they won't be mind controlled or brainwashed. Knowledge that we're having right now, the STEM experience that we're having at this moment, I think we're up. It's up to us to show them the truth and get that knowledge because without the knowledge, we're lost, right? So that's what I would love to do because I got it through research through Flat Earth, and I would like to rub it to the children, give it to them, so they can grow up knowing the truth and not the lies of our government. Final answer.
Final answer. Nice one, Cats. Same question to you, Jim, from one.
Well, if I learned anything, it's all important, of course, and that pretty well everything that I thought I knew before was a lie. But, the actual fact of how mechanical the structure and how physical a domain that we live in, proof being in that the moon is so predictable, the eclipse is so predictable, the planets, the alignments, so predictable, not just month after month, but decade after decade, millennium after millennium. If in 1,000 years a cheap plastic antiquary device is found by someone and they crank the handle to a date and they'll have the, eclipses for their time. Same machine. It's so
Beautiful image,
mechanical
Jim.
that a single machine can record its motions forever. It couldn't be possible if we were hurling through space.
Big realization, isn't it?
It's big. We're stationary. We're on a machine. What we're seeing is synchronized gears and motions and regulars. It's an engine. It's the actions of an engine that we're seeing the result of. The motions.
So I guess you learned a lot then.
Yeah, we're not moving. There was no Big Bang. Even as a notion, it should be ridiculized because it is a ridiculous notion.
I think the Big Bang,
Explosions
Jim.
destroy things. They don't create things.
I think the Big Bang was probably when they put it in gear. It started it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know if I need to build a house, I don't put a bunch of dynamite around, blow it up, and poof, out of the smoke and blast, I have a house I can move into. I have a hole in the ground. So Big Bangs, they don't create, they destroy.
Final answer?
The myth, final answer.
A good one at that. Has that all been answered or anyone to go?
It's
I think that's all the question threes of one answered, yeah? So we'll jump to mine next then. My question three, it's pretty much similar to what one asked you. My question for you was, what have you learnt since then compared to what we've been taught? I think I'm going to change that question because one can have just asked that. So I'm going to change that to something else, just to put you on the spot a little bit. What can I ask you? I'll tell you what, I'll pass it to Jimbo. And you can ask his three. You can ask his question free while I try and think of what to change mine to, because I don't want us answering the same questions. Over to you, Jim.
My question three is a little light question, I guess, too, but instead of the view from above or below, if you could go in any cardinal direction, north, east, west, or south, to a new area, if there was one, hypothetically, which way would you go? East, west, north, or south? Now, remember, there's a Norwegian sailor who wrote about there being giants to the north, short people to the south, in these tales of hyperborea, I guess, hyperbolia. And now, if you imagined us in the center with these other realms being outside where I'm saying the north of north is and the south of south is, then in that context, which way would you rather go? To where there might be giants, shorter, smaller people? To the west, we know there were possibly giant cannibals, so I might rule out the west. Or east,
I'll stay in the middle.
Choices.
I think practically I'd go where the smaller people to beat up were, like the military. I'd go south if the legend was that it's easier to beat up midgets.
I would have said west until you said there's cannibal giants over there.
Yeah, they don't even care about women there. They're that weird.
Now I think I'll say east. Stay away from those guys.
I would say south, and I want to wander south. Final answer, south.
Yeah, me too. But I'll stay in the middle too, though.
Yeah, we'll meet back in the middle, don't worry.
Yeah. I go south or east. I'd avoid the west and the north.
It's like that. It's like that. Which way do you go? You know,
Well,
so,
if I'm right, like I
yeah.
suspect, and the north is the home of, you know, the ascension to the creator's home, it's probably well guarded, and you know, you'd probably have to be a really special person to go knocking around the doors there, you know. Hey, God home?
Hey, that's cheating. I would have said north then.
Yeah, well, you know, I wouldn't go there without an invitation from, you know, the host, you know. Just out of
Yeah.
courtesy, you know, if you're not invited somewhere, you don't go. Maybe we are invited, but I don't know. But you know, this is our home for now, and if that was our home, we'd be there, right? You
I
know,
think
the
the
way.
giant bouncer would let you know if you were welcome or not.
No, I'd
Okay.
sort
What
of
was
like
your
consider that. The question was, I guess, if you could visit any point in land where there was more land north of north, south of south, etc., which way would you go? Excluding west, where there's homosexual cannibal giants. These are three, I guess.
Wow, it gets worse in the west.
Right.
Oh, my Lord. Get away from that.
What were them people thinking of that sang
I
Go
like
West?
Hmm. I'm with one.
You know what the giants in the west said before they came east? There's good Spanish food over there. Snare drum.
Right, I've got a question for you now. Do you have any regrets
Okay.
at all learning what you have since starting this research?
Wow. I don't. I have no regret. And the reason why is, look, the more I learn, the more you can give it out to those that need to know the truth. So for me, for the research, has a lot to do for me. Because I would like to not rub it, but give that info to those that need to wake up.
Final answer?
Yeah, find my answer.
Question to you one. Any regrets?
No, can't have regrets when, like I said, you're pushed to do something and you find it for whatever reason, and it's such an odd scenario. You can't regret the truth.
Final answer?
Yep, that's my final answer.
Nice. Jimbo, any regrets, mate, since starting this research?
Not really. There are things that I regret that I learned in chemistry, and I really regret, I wish I'd never learned them, and I can't unlearn them. But in this, no, there's nothing I regret. But certainly there's stuff I wish I never learned in chemistry. Absolutely. And it's not even drug related or anything. It's just
You had me
biology
thinking
and
there, like.
chemistry and stuff, and I don't talk about it. But yeah, I wish I'd never learned. But that's in this, nothing I regret.
Well, I
Final
regret
answer?
learning the fault on the one,
What was that, Kat?
but the lies of the government because you know they've been fooled.
Yeah.
Well, in reality, we are the government and they are a pseudo government. We've allowed them to take away and give to us a false impression that they rule us by our consent. And that's not the way it is. We give them permission to do some stuff. We're the government. They work for us. And that's what people have been taught not to know, not to understand. So this
I
small
agree.
group of kind of like profiteers in business and other stuff have compromised civil servants at the top, and everything's become sort of skewed in favor and lopsided. And You know, they have all the words for, human resources, taking care of people, all this, and it's basically band-aids on the wounds from the exploitation of all these people for decades and decades. And it's a pathetic system. But don't matter what you do for the state, you'll get a kick in the teeth as a reward. You can be a vet from, I don't care if it's Vietnam or the Gulf War, come back home, what are you going to get? Bad treatment from the VA, bad treatment from the government, wind up on the streets with nothing, and you've served your country, and that's your thank you. And your
Yeah.
thank you is screw off, get out of our face. You went to do it for some capitalists. They don't care about you, neither do we. Go take care of yourself, go jump off a bridge. We don't care. Come to our VA hospital, we'll put poison in you, we'll call you crazy.
Well, yeah.
Anyway,
Or they're living out in the
final answer.
streets, right?
final answer.
Do I have any regrets? No, no regrets whatsoever. I would never have met you fine people, would I? And we would never have progressed to where we are now, so no regrets whatsoever. Final answer.
Okay. I think it's Jimbo's, right? For number 3? Oh, no. That's not it. We're on number 4.
No, we're on number 3. Or are we? Hold on.
Yeah, I'd done
No,
mine,
Jim.
I think. Points east,
Yeah.
northwest, where would you go?
You done your free one?
Yeah, she did.
Oh yeah, you did, because I had to change mine. So we're on question 4,
Okay.
yeah? Who's going first on question 4?
I'll do. Okay. 1. Do you regret learning the new knowledge you have gained? Okay. Do you regret it? I think we just answered that question, didn't we?
Yeah, it kind of sounds.
Yep.
If there was any regret.
Yeah, it kind of sounds familiar.
I don't have any.
Well, right.
So we need another
Well,
question
then-
off cats.
Oh my
just
God.
make one up.
Okay.
Oh, but,
What will you do?
well, what do you think? Go on. Oh, go on. You got one.
Okay, 1. What would you do if your granddaughter or grandson or your children ask you about the knowledge you took from doing the research? What kind of knowledge or what kind of also wisdom that you have to give to your children or your family or you know?
Good question. Well,
Sorry.
as for my children, well, they're to a point in their grown uphood that they know everything right now. So trying to talk to them about this is kind of like talking to a brick wall. But I look forward to the day that my granddaughter and grandson and any future grandchildren ask about the world workings, because I'm going to tell them the truth. And I'm probably going to do that even if they don't ask. I'm going to make sure we have little sit downs where they learn the things that I have to share. My granddaughter's 5, and she already loves watching me do this kind of stuff. She says, "Oh, you're doing the research," and she has her own little map, and she'll draw on it. And, it's cute.
I have a flat Earth Glober breakfast, and you take a bowl, put it upside down on the table, pour the milk, the cornflakes, and sugar and everything on the bottom of the bowl, and give the spoon to the Glober. That's water sticking to the side of a ball, side of a bowl. Same thing. It don't stick.
Back in a few minutes,
Final
guys. We've
answer.
got someone at my door. Back in a few minutes.
I'll answer my own question. Same thing. 1. I will do the same thing with my niece and nephew. Have them do an experiment on this as well. Like if they were doing a research and she's 9 and he's 6, to do some kind of a research as well, so they can learn the basic how to research for 1, and 2 to know the knowledge and the wisdom of a research. So when they grow up, they know what a research is about, not just doing a and lay out on the essay, do your research on this. I think it's very important to start them at a small age to start doing the research so they can understand what a research is about and they could teach other children as well. The more we teach them when they're younger, when they grow up, they will keep that in their mind about the research, saying, this person taught me how to do research.
Well, without looking too far in the future, when kids find out the earth is flat, and a lot have, they challenge their teachers with it. And so they should.
Exactly.
There's no reason that there shouldn't be 10 kids in every school that challenge the so-called globe with their teachers. There should be 100.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
then they're
but
labeled
going
troublemakers, unfortunately.
The more the merrier.
exactly.
Eventually, you can't stop that big, public
Truth.
consciousness. You
Truth.
can't. The truth, you can't stop it.
I agree.
And,
I
and, and
agree.
it
If they
shouldn't
were
be
all
abated.
troublemakers, they wouldn't be troublemakers. They would be the truth, and the teachers would be bullshit. Excuse my language again, cats.
Yeah. But see, the thing is that if you teach them, okay, at a small age about research, say for instance what we're talking about, the flat earth and how everything's connecting what you guys are doing on research. I think we're responsible to teach them their research because if they go to school and say a teacher says, well, we live in the spinning ball, and our grandchildren can say, no, we're not. And they'll explain why. They can say, once you research it, and you will find the truth. This is what I know. And this is very important that we teach them heads up on it because they can tell their own teacher, this is what's going on.
Yep. And need to.
So,
Sorry
yeah.
about that, guys. I'm back.
In this world, you stand for something or you live for nothing.
Final answer?
Well, that's me. I don't know about you guys, but I will teach my niece and nephew that, about the research. It's very
What was the
important for them
question
to
again?
research because it's not just them to teach others mainly. I forgot the question. We're just talking about. I just said that out of the blue. I didn't write. I forgot what was the question.
She asked
What do
if
you?
we would teach our children or grandchildren the truth about this work that we've done.
Okay, my answer to that then would be, I find it hard even talking to my kids about flat earth, never mind what we've discovered since. So I try not to, I think a lot of people they'd probably rather wait till it comes on television that, oh yeah, flat earth's real, blah blah blah. But no, I don't really discuss it with anyone at home. I keep it to myself. You get to a point where you think, how the hell do we describe this to my kids? How the hell do I tell them about this?
Well,
that's what I got to.
I prefer the mass approach where the group psychology is a very powerful tool where when you're working like family like that, it's more individual. A bunch of people, say at a beach, that are 12 miles away from a bright light, say, and they can see the light with no curve, stuff like that, or even 6 miles. It's it's got to be like seen and felt by a lot of people who have the denial, because there's a physical shock or a resistance to get over.
And
These
it's a hell of a
barriers and these words like refraction and
meow meow meow.
We're too small, we're too big, it's too far, what blah blah blah. I mean, in a sense, seeing is believing. If I told you I had a dragon, it was one thing. If I showed you the dragon, it'd be another.
Show me the dragon.
Yeah, show me the dragon. But yeah, like I say, I have an experiment I want to do where basically instead of seeing my own arse over, the whole curve of the earth, because I squint real hard, I just bend some light 4 corners and have it shoot back at me kind of thing. And there are lakes around and, set up on the Quebec side of this lake. Well, it's part of a river, but it's a bay in the river, if you will. And set up 4 mirrors or 3 mirrors and shine the light. And should bounce around all 4 of them if they're angled right and hit me in the ass.
It certainly would. Final answer?
Final answer.
Beauty. What number question was this?
It wasn't.
It was her extra.
Ah, some elaboration and stuff. What question we're on? Number 4, isn't it?
Yeah.
So who's asked number 4 so far? I know I haven't asked mine number 4 yet. Have you one? Have you, Cats? Jimbo?
I haven't, no.
Cats, have you asked question 4? Jim? I can't remember.
I will, though, if you want.
Yeah, go for it. Go on.
Okay, what I want to know from everyone is which part specifically of this work affected you guys the most? And your answer can be of mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical, or all.
Good question.
I can answer very shortly and briefly. I'm still numb from it all. I haven't really put my feet back on the ground, and they may never get back on the ground. But you know, it's where I am now, and I know there's a lot more studying to do and things that are going to pop out, and probably numb my mind a bit more because I keep thinking there's nothing that could, you know, shock me or be bigger or whatever, and there always is. It's often simpler and simpler as we go.
Final
Instead
answer?
of more and more complex. Final answer.
Good answer.
It is, yeah. Nice one.
Cat's here.
Cats, are you online?
Okay. We'll go ahead, FPV.
What was the question again?
Which part of this work affected you the most specifically? And it can be like a mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. How are you affected by it?
The first thing would be the Nazca Mandala, when I realised what it actually represented and what it fitted with, and scriptural descriptions that actually relate to it. That was quite a shock. And I thought, wow, you know, what am I looking at? Is this for real? And it just got worse and worse. Like I said at the start, it becomes very surreal what you're looking at. You think, is this what I'm really looking at? Yeah, that's a shock. And then other things, you know, you discover things, and Jimbo discovered things, and I thought I'd seen everything when I looked at the Nazca lines, and then, you know, you guys are popping up with your information and surprises and giants and how things work and all kinds of stuff going on. Yeah, it's just been one constant shock after another, but I kind of switch off. I put it all aside. I don't stop to marvel at it, so to say. I know it's an amazing creation, it really is, but I can't let myself stop to absorb it and marvel at it. Not yet. Not till the end. I've got to see it out to an end. I know if I stop, I'll probably get lost. So no, it's all about research. I've got to keep pushing it forward to an end, to a model. We want to see, we know how it works. We're going to see how it works, and we're going to show that very soon. So yeah, emotional, physical, yeah, definitely physical. You lose a lot of sleep. You know, I couldn't tell you how many hours I've put into this. I've no idea. It's just a blur. You know, the last few months have been a blur. So yeah, hard to say. You know, some of them I can't answer just yet. Not till the end. So there's still surprises to come, I think. That's my final answer.
Very good answer. Very good. Is Cat's back?
Ah.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
It's okay. The question is, what part of this work specifically affected you? And it can be a mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical effect.
Mm. Wow. Um, I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't. I'm not sure. Mental. It. I don't know. That's a hard question for me, honestly. I'll pass it. Mm.
I know at the start, Cats, when I was mentioning scripture relating to it to you, you were shocked. I know you were shocked. And you didn't want to believe it.
Oh yeah, I
And
didn't want to
then
believe
I
it
just kept
because
giving you different references to it.
yeah, I denied it so many times with FPV and until it got to me until I started seeing connecting with the what he was saying. But yes, I was against it and I disagree a lot with him. It took me a while for sure. So spirituality is it took me a long time basically.
Final answer?
Finance.
Nice one.
Mm-hmm.
Whose turn is it next? Jimbo's to answer that.
Okay, could you repeat the question?
Um, what specifically affected you with this work? And it can
Mm.
be mental, physical, spiritual, emotional.
Yeah, like I say, I went basically the worst part, I guess, is doing 4K high def, looking at Grand Canyon and other places, and I'd done 30, 40 hours straight, and you know, when you're sort of like uh, you're in a different world almost when you've gone a certain amount of time without sleep, and you know, it's almost hallucinating, but I wasn't hallucinating. But nonetheless, some of the things in that period, they left me dumbfounded. They really did leave me fit to be tied. But I don't know. This whole thing has left me kind of numb, not permanently, but you know, more sure of the creator and that, well, we have at least a responsibility to of our own to kind of recognize the fact we have one and that this is his place that was made for us. It's our home, yes, but with respect, you know. I don't know. If anything else, I respect the ground I walk on now. I just like, you know, I don't care if you're in any town anywhere. If I have garbage in my hand, I try to make it hit a garbage can now, you know. Just little things. I'm more conscious now of where I am than I've ever been.
Final answer, Jim?
Final answer.
Beauty, mate. Nice one.
Very good.
That's the end of your question number 4, is it one, yeah?
Yes, it is.
Okie dokie. I'll ask my question number 4 then. Can you tell us about any of the exciting moments you've had during this research? What was the exciting moments for you, you know? You've got hold of something and you've gone after it and you've found it. Tell us about those kind of moments. Question to 1.
Oh, to me first. Okay. um, let's see. Well, the very first exciting moment was being asked to join the team. That was pretty exciting. Um, I felt privileged, so thank you. Um,
You're
then, of
welcome.
course, then of course I mentioned already the Eden moment where I had used Google Earth coordinates using the Bible verses as coordinates and placed Eden, southwest of Africa, and then discovered that you put your 0.0 right there. That was pretty exciting. that was kind of what got it going. Quake Pass, placing them all on the map, and they were just hitting along the grid. That got me rolling in that direction. Then we turned around and straightened things out. That was definitely, I didn't have a lot of words at that point.
Yeah, I remember that. Let's straighten this mess out.
Yeah, we started with the Aurora Borealis, I think, one day, and then it just was like, okay, we have to straighten out everything. And it was.
It was, wasn't
it? Yeah. Next was probably when the further out Nazca lines were shown. To me, that confirmed there's more land. That was quite exciting because that was something I had been pondering for a while. The sun paths and realizing that quakes were pretty much making the sun path. I mean, they were a result of it moving, so that was pretty cool, you know. The planets, realizing they're in our realm.
Oh yeah, I like that bit.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. Jimbo and the Giants blew my mind. I've seen, faces and bodies and fingers in land for a while. I just assumed I was crazy. But I'm glad that someone else, also points it out and sees it. So now we know. We know that we're living in a land that used to be giants.
Final answer one? Oh, sorry.
And the one more thing that we're not even done with yet is the Antikytherian mechanism.
Surprise
so
after surprise then.
Yeah, I won't go into that one, but that one will be coming up right along. So
Yeah, it's really an amazing thing. Very few like tops, like gears, with specific number of teeth, can position the sun and the moon at any time, now in the future, and predict the eclipses literally to the minute, the length of them. The whole works. It's just a simple device. It's so mechanical and simple. I mean, if we were actually hurling around and following all these gravitational dynamics and all this nonsense, everything hurling away from each other, like, the stars and the planets all blasted outward from everything else, this device couldn't possibly work for a month, a week, or a year. But yet, in 1,000 years, the same machine in the hands of a child, they could predict the next 1,000 years of eclipses and phases of the moon.
You fell in love with that, haven't you, Jim?
Well, you got to ask who's kidding who. I mean, if a 5-year-old could figure out this device and everyone in the world is pretending they got their heads up the asses about what it can do, and I don't even know gears, and I just looked at it and figured out a bunch of stuff, right up on gears. It's just, one looks like an egg beater. Well, damn, I know what an egg beater looks like, a little handheld egg beater with a little screw on the side there that you turn. That's all it is.
exactly.
Someone with a good imagination and good calculation skills could probably take apart a bicycle and use 10-speed gears and other stuff to, find, oh, this one got the right number of tooth. Here's a 64 spoke, tooth, and put it all together and freaking make one out of bicycle parts. I mean, really, it's just, it's so old hat. It's like, we shouldn't even be discussing it like it's anything but a useful tool that everyone knows about anyway, and just like, let's move on. It shouldn't be an issue. But yet here we are in like 2018, and like, they pulled it out of the water I don't know how long ago, and they've been heads up their ass with it for 75 years. Come on. And they say, oh well, they just got X-rays and stuff. So they've had X-rays of it for how long have people been getting X-rays for their teeth? In the 30s they had X-rays, or 40s. I mean, who's kidding who? It's a few years.
Are you aware? Are you aware it was found in the same decade as the Nazca lines were realised? Early 1900s. Yeah, go on, Cats.
PB, I need to go. I gotta go to my other business. But the last question, really quick, was is a secret question. Is to one.
Go on then.
This is a mystery. I just want to get this out of the way because I gotta get going.
Yeah, go for it.
What do you think? What do you think is going on with the volcanoes erupting, or what we talked earlier about Hawaii? Can you see what's going on, or explain to chat?
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a natural process, or man could be replicating these signals. But what we had talked about earlier was the signals being sent, and it's Kilaueo's turn to have a lot of activity. That's the way I see it. I see it that some of these technologies are running all the time, and they're doing the things that it takes to run this earth and everything that it takes to keep us alive and safe. But then there's others. There's others that don't always do these big major events. If you look back into the past, there's lots of things that have happened, catastrophes. I'm not saying that this is what this is going to be, so don't take my words as any type of fear mongering or predicting of something catastrophic to happen, because that's not what I'm saying. It's just a system of signals. I think personally that Hawaii itself is a volcano. When we look at the lava draining and all these different fissures opening up, and the lava tubes being pretty much all over the island, even in the parts they didn't think they were, or it didn't affect them anyway. I'm sure they knew they were there. Then we see that there is a different signal that's been sent, because this hasn't happened like this, in quite some time. The volcano itself may have drained in recent past, but the way that it's happening now, I believe 1924 was when I looked it up, that it was a major thing. So not only that, but over by Lake Toba is actually a volcano near there, not that one, but that is actually a very huge super volcano. Has also set off very large, massive 50,000 foot plumes. Again, there's something going on that is it's a change in the signals. There's, we're probably at a point in our world where it's this time to do this, I guess. That's what I think. That's how I see it.
Final answer one?
Yeah. There is an odd thing about the volcano tubes and their draining. They're actually very narrow. They put out a lot of lava, like at Hawaii. But the tube that actually goes down into the ground to the main source of the lava is actually very narrow a tube, a meter or two wide often. So the fact it drains down very deep is not really too surprising. There's not that much magma to drain out of that tube. Refilling it is pretty easy also. By the same token, then it fills up its lake in the crater.
And what they also are talking about
is... Hold on. Is that a final answer, or do you want to elaborate more? Because the cats want to ask me questions and then leave.
No, I'm good. Sorry about that.
I was going to say just a little bit more.
Go on then.
Okay. Well, also what they're saying, going off of what Jimbo just said, which is accurate, because what they're actually saying is the lava that is there is heating up the waters that are below Hawaii or in the land, or and it's actually, when it does burst, it will be steam and rock, not it won't be a ton of lava. It's going to be steam and rock and earth. So, yeah, what he said is accurate. It's There's not a ton of magma, but the pressure, and it's going to heat the waters. It's going to cause steam. It's going to
Yeah,
cause pressure, and then it'll blow.
yeah, blow from below because the tube and
Exactly.
everything around it is pretty solid. It's find a weak spot somewhere, like a car tire, the inflation valve. There's extra rubber at the base and stuff, and it comes up where you put the air. It's sort of like that, you know. Down below and off to the side is where it'll probably blow if it does under the water.
And on volcanoes, yeah, there's more to it than just Hawaii. Like one showed us the equator is just full of volcanoes. That was a surprise for me. You know, you look at the mimic maps there and it shows you all this heat across the equator. What they call the ring of fire, I suppose. It's just the line of fire. It's a straight line, basically. So what you're looking at, what you're looking at is track work, mechanics and gearing and technology causing all this heat, and that's what's
And
rising.
just the flow of current, you know, will cause a lot of heating. A lot. Enough to melt
Exactly.
rock, you know.
And the volcanoes are simply the weak spots, and it's released over and over and over. It's pushed up the land. It pushes up the land. It's the energies.
And there is a 48-month cycle, which is 4 years. And 4 years ago, the same volcano in Hawaii was erupting the same basic way, a little bit out of control and doing the nasty. So it's on a 4 year cycle for bigger eruptions and, you know, just a popping and a fizzing a lot of the rest of the time.
And as we traced on the mimic map, guys, signals coming from Antarctica, following the grid absolutely perfectly, splitting into three. When it hits Mount Etna, going towards Vesuvius and Iceland, the centre one heading towards the Bosnian Pyramid, and the one that branched right towards somewhere in the Middle East. This is direct contact through volcanoes underground. This signalling, and switching. That's what we're kind of showing you, and how the volcanoes are actually playing a part in this. There's things below that we're just not aware of yet. Well, we are now. We know what's there, and that's what we're trying to show people, what's going on below. It's technology and heat and mechanics and cogs and things like this going on.
Yeah, like
it's not called the fires of hell for nothing. It must be hot down there. Final answer.
It's got to be controlled too. So, you know, any machine built, it's built with, you know, radiating heat and other stuff considered, you know. It's just...
It's also mixing the minerals, and it's creating elements. It has to be hot.
As the main said, the seven working together realised they could create, and this is where it's coming from. Do you want to ask your last question now, Katz? Or did she go? I'm not sure if she went.
No, I'm here. My last question, that was the mystery question.
All right, so you're finished then, yeah?
Yeah, I gotta get going. I gotta get ready.
All right, Katz.
Everybody in chat, thanks for coming. I would stay, but you know, I have to take care of my other part, the other, business. But you guys all take care. Talk soon. Hopefully we'll green stream again. So, but anyways, bye you all. Good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at PV1 and James.
Have a good night. Drive safe.
And everybody.
Have a good evening.
Catch you later, Katz. Take care.
I'm not looking forward to it, but what can I say? I have this business up. So,
it'll all be fun.
I'll see you guys later. It is fun right now at this moment, you can say, but there's a lot of ideas that are coming in my head to bring it up. So, but anyways, I gotta go. You guys take care.
Have a fun day.
Bye, everybody in chat. All right. Ciao.
See you, cats.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay, we're on question number 5 now, yeah? Or was it 4? You guys said you're number 4, yeah?
Yeah, I think I've done my 4. Maybe not.
If you got a
Should I do
question
my
4,
4?
yeah,
I
if
did
you've
my
got a
4.
4, yeah. Just you left then, Jim.
My 4 is just, it's kind of probably similar to some of the others, but, you know, with this knowledge, you know, irregardless of possible inaccuracies or whatever, not being 100% perfect, but at least we know we're on the right ballpark. But with the knowledge, sharing it, is it worth the price? And should interest, you know, like in part be local, like fixing some of the problems we have, you know, like the mess that we've made here and the way of thinking that we have here? Shouldn't we fix that here before we export it to another grid or area that, you know, might not have the same mindset or, you know, greed and 7 carnal sins, other stuff, you know, that lurk in the souls of men and women?
Yeah, I see your question is, yeah, because we don't know what the hell's going on outside of our realm. Are these people in charge here doing things on the outer of our realm to go somewhere else? You know, you're looking at disabling part of the grid that, in my opinion, is there to protect us.
Yeah, or they might have a, you know, kill on sight policy going.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can imagine
The
that.
other side.
They don't want
And
you.
not New World Order people, other people and whatever that, you know, were on the grid before us, and they don't want us there, you know, which is always a possibility.
Well, that's another option,
Show
isn't
up,
it? You
they
know,
kill you and ask questions later. You don't know.
that's another option, Jim. You know, is this grid designed to protect us or keep us here? Are we a dangerous species? I would have to say yes. The way some people
Well, no
think and
question, we're
behave,
dangerous species.
we're a dangerous species. We're reckless. I mean, not all of us, you know, but politicians,
Well,
and
it's
the politicians and the
the
people they work for, they seem to be
the
reckless.
ruthless ones and the most evil ones that find their way to the top, you know. Seems like that's why, like, you know, in schools, are bullies punished? No, the kids that they bully are punished.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
They actually encourage bullyism still to this day. How come? Because they want the oppression to work psychologically.
They assumed
People have to
authority.
be oppressed and terrorized to be controlled and manipulated. And they submit to anything. They just don't want trouble. It's a secret of this world. A bunch of globe bullies are going to beat up on flathead bullies now, you know.
Yeah, dung heap challenge, I call it. They distract you with all the garbage while they just sit back and watch it happen. Yeah. Put it all aside and look who the enemy is, guys.
Fortunately, a bunch of the enemy appear to be just old drunks and farts with nothing better to do than sit in front of a computer and get drunk and have no proof of a globe.
Argue about something that doesn't exist.
See, on the bottle, there's a sailor and the boat, and if it went on a flat earth to the edge, it'd fall off and I wouldn't have this bottle of booze. There's proof of a globe right there. The bottle made it around the curve, you know. You know, think of it, you know. Between Hawaii and the continental USA, say California, the boat has to go basically up a 700-mile curve to get to a port in California. It cannot do anything but either be going downhill when it leaves Hawaii and have to slow down when it gets to California, or, you know what I'm saying? No matter where that boat is on the water, if it's a ball, it's on the, you know, Salinger, it's on the highest point. It's always got to force itself over a curve. It's pushing itself over the ball, over the apex all the time. Ridiculous. It means if it stopped, if the propeller stopped, it'd start sliding backwards. In theory. Anyway, it's ridiculous.
Here's an easy one, you know, flying. Right, the vomit comet. You know, you put that aircraft at a certain angle, people start floating. Why aren't people floating when they're flying north or south?
They're not floating. They're falling at the same rate as the aeroplane. They're not floating for zero for beans.
You know what I meant.
They are accelerating
The
downward
zero
at
G.
32 feet per second squared, just like the, well, maybe not exactly, but
Okay.
anyway,
If you want to go technical, yeah. But I was just making an easy, a simple observation.
It's free fall, yeah, in a plane.
It's a simple observation. That aircraft at that altitude, people's going to free fall within the aircraft. Now, why aren't people free falling in the aircraft travelling north and south? Because according to them, the aircraft is going around the globe. Now, that aircraft has to dip its nose or climb, depending which way it's going. Then people should be reacting in the cabin, and they're not. They just sit there.
Floating to the ceiling.
Yeah, they should be all over the place.
Have to strap in.
It's an easy one.
Ridiculous. Well, like I say, in 100 miles, they have to dip their nose a full mile. That's a lot of dip in, you know.
You know, put yourself in a roller coaster. You feel the positive and negative G's and the motions of it going round. You feel pretty much similar in an aircraft.
Everything, every part of it.
When the aircraft's banking, the people to your left will be 10 foot higher than you are, or lower than you, because the aircraft's virtually on its side.
Yes.
You would react to what the aircraft is doing. You know, you hit a bit of sink, you hit a bit of sink, the aircraft drops. You drop with it, but a bit slower. You know, people bang their heads on the ceiling, then land again.
That air pocket, you can freaking hit your head on the baggage compartment above you, or you're in
people,
the aisle.
You know, if they want to, if they want to push the globe, they can't have it both ways. You cannot have people floating in a zero G aircraft if they're not floating going around the globe. So it tells you they're not going around the globe. Otherwise, they would be floating. It's ridiculous. It's an easy it's an easy globe debunker. I don't know if people have mentioned that before. It's an easy globe debunker.
It's too fast on your jet aircraft, and you're a passenger in a big jet aircraft. You're gonna try to float like these guys on the zero G planes. There's all kinds of things that are interfering with your nice float or free fall. But it's not nothing to do with floating. They're not floating. They're not in zero G. The instant that they leave the floor, they're falling down. They really are. Their mass accelerating downward. It is ridiculous. Simple physics will tell you that, you know.
The only difference there now is the passengers on the aircraft travelling north and south, going on holiday or whatever, they're not wearing fantasy Planet of the Apes space costume suits. Maybe it's them that helps them float. Who knows?
But it means every airplane taking off here in Ottawa is taking off at 45 degrees because we're on the 45 parallel. So, I mean, to go south, they have to, you know, turn south and start dipping north right away.
Yeah,
500 miles an hour. I mean, they have to dip their nose 1 mile in about 10 minutes.
Like Africa, you know, basically in Africa, you're taking off with the aircraft on its side. Why aren't the people falling against the other side of the window? and
why
the wood,
does the Nile River flow up? It flows north, up over the equator, and down the other side.
It's stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, it flows up. The Nile River, gravity is pulling it up to the equator, and then over the equator, and then down to the north. Happens on balls all the time. There's a jet stream blowing that way, maybe. But no, you can't have it that way. It just don't make no sense.
Whose question was it? Was that yours, Jim? Yeah.
The last one.
Yeah, number 5.
Local fixing. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, with the new knowledge, is the price of sharing it worth it? And it's the local importance of what we're doing and cleaning up our mess more important than trying to explore new places and exporting our mess.
Yeah, I think we answered the second part of that. First part of that, yeah, it's very important to share the knowledge, because that's what you look through history now. All I see is the rise of the globalists, and all they've ever done is try and hide the knowledge, keep it to themselves. This is what they've been doing in history.
No matter what truth you spread, you pay a price for it too. If people are just evangelizing, you know, that there is a God, they pay a price for that, you know. But they shouldn't, but they do. It's just like flat Earth, you know. You pay a price for it. Temporary one.
Yeah, temporary, yeah, and it'll improve.
Yeah.
Final answer for me, anyway. One, you want to answer that one?
The price, yes. It's worth it for me. I don't really want to drag anyone else into it in case it does turn out to be a type of dangerous situation. But, well, but that would take away their free will. But as for me, the truth is worth any price to pay for me. I want the world to try to be a better place for my grandchildren. And it's just getting worse. It's gotten worse from when I was a child to when I raised my children. And now it's just, oh my God. Like, it's a nightmare, and everybody is plumb dumb. Want to try to fix that in any possible way I can. And yes, we need to fix our world and our people, and we can start in our own backyards by trying to spread this truth when it's all the way complete and we have the answers to give. Go out in our own worlds, our own communities, and try to spread the truth and teach the children. I know it sounds corny, but the children are the future. I mean,
For me, it's
Yes, they
just
are.
a price I'd gladly pay. We're going to pay a price for everything we do anyway, good or
yes, we
bad,
are.
really.
You're right.
The better thing you do, the more price you pay for it, apparently, in this world. But it's a price I'll gladly pay.
The truth will set you free, and it should be free. It shouldn't cost you a penny to find out the truth. Yep. Final answer?
Exactly. Final answer.
Beautiful answer. Right, my question 5 then. Has this research changed your perspective on life in any way? Question 2, Jimbo.
I've always loved caves, beach caves, everything all around Richmond. I always wanted to go down that one that went right to the foot of the mountains at Mount St. Joseph. Never had the balls though, but now I want to go underground. I know there's stuff there. Our world is built civilization on top of civilization on top of civilization. Hundreds of feet below us, there were people before. There were constructions. They're, homes basically, just roads. Everything is down there. Some still very open, if you will. You know, there's a whole world down beneath our feet. Just no matter where you walk, you know. I'm 300 feet above sea level. I know just below my feet in Ottawa here, there's 300 feet of history. All kinds of construction and evolution, and not evolution tadpoles to Gila monsters, no, but evolution of structures and consolidation of this and that, and then covered over and built upon, and just hundreds of feet just below me. It's everywhere, you know. I say, and I know, Grand Canyon, it's not an erosion. There's too much symmetry, too many corners, even hemicircles washed out inward, and it's used to be a city, a construction, a place where people lived, of all sizes and shape, and pretty and ugly, and snakes and everything there. But we came up from there, built on top of event after event, and kept moving up, and we are where we are today after a lot of history. And that history is below our feet. The homes are below our feet. Everything's below our feet. Anyway, I want to see what's down there. It's changed me. I want to go underground now. Really bad.
Final answer, Jim?
Final answer.
Yeah, exploration. Yeah, they've made it seem out of reach, put it into space, but space doesn't exist, and everything we need to be looking at's all around us and below us. We can go in all directions but up, it's seemingly.
Like I see, I
Good
can look
answer.
at a mountain now, like that one butts up in the Gaspé. I know where the chest is, I know where the arm is. If I took a core sample, I could say you'd have this many feet of this type of granite with some, stuff on top, and then you'd hit a kinnibar, some red heart rock they call it. No kidding, heart rock. But the heart rock will go down this far, and then there'll be more of this granite, and then more of the skin, whatever, and then you're out of the giant.
But you could pull up that core in every section that I knew would be there. You'd pull it out. There's your Kinney bar, your cinnabar there, how thick it is. I could determine how big the heart was and know how much was in it to mine. Mercury and gold.
Ooh, nice. Final answer?
That's how it works. Final answer.
Perfect. Yeah. There's a question. Question there of what was it again? Flat and square in chat. I'll just chuck this one in before it goes past. He's asking, what y'all think? Maybe if we get a World War III, how do the new bombs and weapons affect the Angel technology or the Cherubims? Whatever technology they create, in my opinion, has to take these in account, and they can't be damaging them. It would be noticeable. So they can't use certain type weapons anywhere near this technology. That stands to reason. When you look at Antarctica, remember Antarctica, there was supposed to be aircraft exploding in mid-air. They said their secret weapons were destroying aircraft in mid-air. I think they were just flying into halos. Because on the outskirts of the realm, these large 6 halos, they come down like a dome shape. They're creating a dome shape, in my opinion, and that's probably what they were flying into. They can't see them unless they spray barium. So now you know why they spray barium. They're looking to see what's where. They're mapping it. So yeah, in my opinion, that's what they were flying into. So they're well aware of what this technology is and what it's capable of doing.
Infrastructure too, just below our feet, may go down for 800 kilometers or even 600 or any number. It's big. Some of the machines that are below are a couple of miles down. So and there's no such thing as nukes. They have the Moab, mother of all bombs, and any fancy names for a rapid explosion, a chemical reaction that's confined. I mean, it's fear porn. Nuclear, dead is dead. Would you really care if it was a stick of dynamite or a bottle of nitroglycerin? Does it really matter?
Yeah, one conscience is answering in chat as well. She thinks more damage can be done mimicking the signals. This is something that we were talking about earlier, guys. We think NASA's sitting monitoring these signals going on, and once they translate it, there's nothing to stop them hacking it and injecting their own signal into there. What
are they doing? To mind. Flutes, Pied Pipers, musical signals, tones. Well, that tool, that thing held up by the Egyptian seated, that human with the bird tool in his hand, what if that was a flute of some kind? And you tune this with, different songs.
Yeah, we just don't know.
This could be an easy way, an audio input and, harmony or different frequencies, played out. I mean, we do it for touch tone encoders to get into buildings and everything, or even dial phones. Same idea. Different patterns of musical notes.
Well, you can imagine what they're doing below ground. They're rebadging everything NASA.
It doesn't have to be an audio frequency that we hear either. Like tuning fork,
Final answer, Jim?
Final answer.
Yep, that's right as well. Same question to you. Has this research changed your perspective on life in any way?
Yeah.
Just
final answer. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, for me, I guess it made life a little bit simpler because it's just signals. It's cause and effect. We're energy. Our world is energy. We affect each other. I think getting into this could have changed, the way my life was heading. I'm not saying it was heading in a bad way at all, but changed my way of thinking.
It really does, doesn't it? You look at the world now when you're eyes, you know how it works.
Yeah. You know, I feel like I maybe have done something very positive that will remain after I'm not here. I mean, it remained from the ancients before us, and now we've brought it back to light, and it'll still hopefully be in the light for a while. You know, I've brought up the divine intervention, that it does something to you. You know, Jimbo used the word numb. I don't think that numb's the word I would use for myself. I think that it really um, it made me feel more. It made me feel, you know, the divine love, I guess, where people, you know, they might use the phrase, I found Jesus.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
like an
that'd be the
endorphin.
feeling.
I mean,
Yeah.
numb in a good
It's
way, in a sense, you know, because
right.
it's enlightening. You can't unlearn it, and it releases chemicals in you just knowing. And
Yeah.
that's where I guess my numb comes from. These type of endorphins from the realization or something. It's just it's like a rush, but not with heavy breathing and all that stuff. But it's like it's in a way subtly exciting. It's just mind blowing. It's just hard to process. And different chemicals are processed and leaves you kind of not necessarily confused, but numb from the information. I just don't know what to call it else. Just like shock. It's just like not bewildered because it's not confusion. Anyway, just numb. For me, it's numb. Just chemically numb.
Final answer?
Final answer. Sorry.
That's okay.
No. Oh, hold on.
No, it's too late. Carry on.
um, well, the point, I mean, I was trying to kind of get at that if our creator wants something said or done or brought forth to surface, you know, it's going to happen, and sometimes in a very unlikely way. And again, like I said before, I'm just I'm really happy that I was chosen to be a part of something that special. Now that's my final answer.
Lovely answer, one. Yeah, you're right. You're really right. It's even for me, it's. I wish I could see you with your faces when, and you probably wish you could see mine when we show each other things. I'd love to see your face when like when I showed you the Nazca lines and you realised something was there, or when you showed me something, you'd probably want to see the expression of my face. I'd like to be in there to see it. You see the look on your face when you realise what you were looking at. That's some amazing moment, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that sometimes you can hear expression in one's voice.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I
Well,
mean?
that's why I enjoy working with you guys. You're really passionate about your research. You can tell by your voice. You're right. You can tell by your voice. There's passion there. Not everyone's got that when they're working with something like this. I've worked with people in the past and showed them this, and it's just not been there, and it's changed them. This research will change you, and sometimes it's not for the good. I won't name names, but it's changed people in the wrong direction. I've noticed. But
For me,
it's
it
not a
kind
lot
of
you can do
raises
about that.
my passion level to find a giant who from ear to ear across his face is almost 240 miles. It's just
God, his dentist's
how
got a
can you
job,
not
hasn't
get
he?
passionate when you discover something like that staring at you for all this time?
Keeping an eye on you, Jim.
Yeah.
Hey, on the subject of the creator, I mean, I've never even it's until a year ago you would consider me just like an atheist. I'd never thought about a creator or a god or creation until we've seen this, and that's when I started to start looking at scripture, and you think, wow, there really is something here. There is This is a creation. It's not the creation that I imagined. The biblical version. It doesn't involve technology, nuts and bolts, cogs and blueprints and all the rest of it. But it is an amazing creation, and this is
You know, I
this
wonder
does
why
reveal a
the
creator.
petrification clue is so obscurified in the construction and the design of this world. You know, where if it was made of all these creatures that were downed after the Battle of Armageddon, well, I guess they say it in so many words, reconstruction or whatever they word it as, interpret it as. But, you know, you think something that important, you know, that it was actually designed, you know, literally from flesh. I mean, you'd think that would somehow be, unless the true writings have been truly abridged so much that we don't even get that part of the truth or the information anymore, you know?
I think you're going to have to look at the older scriptures, you know, older scripts.
Yeah, yeah.
Further you go back, I think there's going to be less bullshit to wade through, and better
The
descriptions of
non-canon
events
stuff.
and mechanics, and that's what I've noticed. The further you go back, it starts making a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And you can see what the globalists have done in scripture. They've removed certain things to a point where it's left to your own interpretation what you're looking at, and that's not
Well,
the
it's so
case.
bad that they send people with trucks to run over lines and sledgehammers to bash in, like, you know, paintings on walls and caves, you know? So they're desperate to get rid of it. Every
Oh, and
sign.
on the subject of the creator, before I forget, yes, if it's the creator calling, and this is a call to wake everyone up, which by all accounts it kind of looks like we were put to get together intentionally, in my opinion. It's strange that we all met and we've all got a very seriously piece of this jigsaw that we're putting together and it works. So yeah, if it's a call up, are we fighting evil? Yeah, sign me up. My final answer.
Good answer.
Yeah,
Because,
well, I'll
well,
let a cat out of the
in my
bag here,
opinion,
you
you
know.
know, this political bullshit, this wickedness in high places, this is what it's relating to, the people leading us. You know, the clues are there in scriptures. We've just got to look at them and decode them correctly. Now we know what we're decoding, we can see exactly what they're talking about. And it's these globalists, the rise of the globalists. They've been here a long time doing this, it seems. Carry on, Jim.
Yeah, this device, it's replicated on a website called Wolfram. You get this Wolfram reader and the PDF that this Wolfram can do mathematics with, and you can run it any day, do whatever, have fun with it. It's, you know, not a top secret government thing. This is a nice 3D you know, version of it on the computer that you can put your birth date on, see if there was an eclipse on your birth date. You know, it's just anyone can download it and have some fun with it. It's missing a few key components and gearboxes because it's only one part of a navigation system, but at least it's there for the position of the sun and the moon and the, you know, eclipses and phases for all time. So, you know, this looking at NASA and they say there's going to be one this date, that date. Oh, they predicted this and that. I mean, anyone could have done it, you know, a few clicks of the mouse, and they gave 1,000 years worth or something till I don't know what year, 30 something. You could go to 35 if you wanted and post all the dates. They're not doing anything that you couldn't do just by clicking to Wolfram, getting the Wolfram reader, and then, you know, playing with this device.
Predictable.
Predictable. And they make like it's all this mystery. You know, it's all a machine. You know, you kind of just, without any other theory around it, understand that it's a mechanical construct without any other information, then you're closer to a truth than anyone else out there.
And
We're living on a mechanical construct. That's why it's also predictable.
And they think doing a slow rollout over the last 75, 80, 90 years of technology, no one's going to notice where it's came from. Well, sorry, but we know where it's from. We can see where it's from. We've got the blueprints. Game over, guys. This empire will fall.
Well, now anyone can know what data eclipse is going to be on and the phases of the moon. Click and an install, and then, you know, a click in the PDF for the device mechanisms, and you can put in any dates you want. It gives you in our modern times the tooth ratios for the sun or the moon gear.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Like saying in chat there, you know, but the Vatican having the books, we need to see them. But I mean, if you listen to the guy we had on the last stream, Mauro Biglino, he's decoding the Old Testament for you, and he's telling you exactly how it is. Robots, technology, you know, we've seen that in the last stream. I would recommend anyone go and have a listen to this guy, because he's telling the truth. If you want to see how it really works in Scripture, go and look at the Old Testament, or listen to Mauro, he's telling you.
Or even Ezekiel, he was trying to describe his wheel in the sky. It was a flying machine. It was one of the cherubim. It was one of the Elohim that was in it, you know. And he described it. He was a man who knew what birds and lions and animals were, but he certainly, as a rabbi and a scholar, didn't know what, you know, cherubim were and the gods exactly at that point, you know. So he was humbled by seeing this machine, but later tried to describe it as best he could. And again, because he didn't know what, you know, wings were for metal shafts and other stuff, and, you know, feet of aircraft or whatever, landing plates, whatever they were, he tried to describe what he saw, which was mechanical, with the terms that he knew, which were bird wings, animal faces, likenesses of this, likenesses of that. So even though he's using animals and caricatures in his description, Ezekiel, he's still trying to describe something mechanical with the terms that he knew, because he wasn't versed in, well, the metals and all this other stuff and parts and flying machines, and it was all new to him. But he certainly knew what lions were and wings and, you know, feet and other stuff that's tangible words, and, you know, as close to a tangible association as what he was describing as he could do, describing these creatures and their parts to, you know, metal adornments, the feet, the wings, the other stuff, the faces. I mean, he was doing his best, but
same as Enoch, Jim, you know, look at the
no
descriptions.
kidding.
Look how
Pretty
he's
much the
describing
same.
the world, and put technology in there, and you'll know what he's describing. You can't miss it once you look at it this way.
Yeah, because they have to use the vocabulary they have and know. And even the angels tried to describe it with vocabulary that he would understand. You know,
The only reason
portal.
people won't get it is because they lost the technological side of it. It vanished. It's been extinguished from history, basically, by
Well,
design.
they say it's all metaphor, the Bible. It's metaphorical references. Spiritual angels are talking about and this and that. No, I guess when they had the Christ, if the story's true, in jail and the angels broke him out, they probably had flying machines and zapped the prison to hell. I don't know. I would imagine, though. I mean, I'm sure it would be difficult to get someone out of jail in the old days.
If that's what it's really depicting, it might just be
mean,
depicting a feature of the technology that's nothing to do with breaking someone out of somewhere. You know, you've got to translate what it's really telling you, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. Because again, did some machine metaphorically often. It's just, again, people using what linguistics they had and language and words they had to describe stuff that was beyond their words. It's the same what we would do if we were shown something that we really didn't know what the hell and asked to describe it. We'd have to add this or that to compare it to, you know. If it had a waggy part, we'd say, well, it had a waggy part, like a dog's tail, you know. Or if it made like
an S pattern, we say wag like a snake, you know, an S. People would still understand the difference of the two tails, eh?
Yeah, I would hope so. Final question? Sorry, final answer?
Final answer.
One, have you asked your question number 5?
Nope, not yet.
Okay, you can go for it now then.
Okay. My last question is, when this model is all the way complete and we know every part of it, we have a working model, how will you spread this powerful truth?
Question to...
And I guess you can start.
How do we spread this powerful truth? I think we just have to keep promoting it on streams like this and get it out there and get people to look at it. I mean, you know, the professionals, there must be professionals out there looking at this knowing it makes sense. It answers a lot of questions that the people's never even considered. You know, we've got origins for lightning, things like this. There must be people out there that's looking, professionals. You know, I'm not saying we're professionals in any way, we're just average people working things out. But there must be people out there that know what we're talking about and making sense. Look at it, guys. You're going to have to come and look at it. We can't see it working
Well,
any other way.
It's getting so crazy easy to prove at every bend in the road that, you know, it's almost futile to continue on the path of trying to prove to others. It's more about really carrying on with the research in a sense, and those that pick up. And I mean that in the sense, I don't know, I just sort of lost where I was going, but
Well, the point, Jim, is, you know, if we weren't finding anything, we'd have stopped long ago, and we're not. We're progressing nicely. It's never stopped, has it?
yeah. Yeah, well, for me too, things have to be practical and repeatable if, you know, any type of flat earth proof or you know, real future movement in it, people have to have things that are truly tangible, you know, and like I say, things are getting so easy to prove it's comical. Like I say, if the one video of these Russians firing a .5 caliber rifle and round straight into the air. Well, it's a minute and a half hang time. With the Coriolis and the Earth moving under it, well, that's a long time. Because even when they shoot horizontally north and south, they're supposed to be calculating for 1,000 yards, a Coriolis effect, under their bullet. Well, if they have to calculate it 1 second, what happens when the bullet's in the air for a minute and 50 seconds? You know, the bullet can come right back down and land in their head. In fact, that experiment can be made pretty precise. I mean, you can make sure almost every bullet that comes back down will come down within a 100-yard ring. There's no rotation ball Earth. There's no motion. I mean, if a bullet can come straight back down and kill you after a minute and a half, the Earth isn't turning. If you could send a balloon high enough up with someone in the gondola, fire the bullet up, it could go up and up and up, and they could like catch it when it reaches its apex before it turns around. Because it'll be traveling at 0 mile an hour when it turns around, right?
No arguments here, Jim.
How could you possibly even like I say, you could arrange the gun so it's truly plumb. It will fire so dead up, it might hit the gun when it comes back down. If it was a really calm day, through all that height it had to go up. Heck, thousands of yards, 15,000 yards up maybe. I don't know how far up. Long, long way up, long, long way down. No Coriolis. I mean, how do you argue Coriolis with a minute and a half hang time and it lands at your feet?
Final answer, Jim?
Final answer.
It's a good one. What was the question again, one? Then I'll answer it.
Well, it was, how are we going to spread this truth? But you kind of answered it.
Yeah, I think I did, didn't I?
More specifically, so what? Go to more mainstream sites and post links I mean, like seriously, more people should be given the opportunity to look at this. Don't you agree?
Of course. I think when we do the next presentation, that's when they're going to really start looking at it. You know, we need the model. They need to see the working model. I know why they hang back. You know, we've got to have a working model to show this is how it's working. You know, and there's no models up there. You know, the globe doesn't exist. The E-maps are fail. 4D's fantasy talk. We know how it works. We can see how it works. It's coming. You know, once they see the model, that's when it'll really get promoted and pushed. I think it's got to be the model. You know, the end game is the model. So yeah, once that's out, then I think it'll be promoted heavily everywhere. It has to be. Final answer.
Well, that's all I have.
You know, shortwave radio might help map out where the continents and cities actually are with respect to each other. Directional antennas, you know, they really are directional. Distance is involved, you know, get them straight. You know, with the astrolabe too, I mean, it's relative to where you are on the plane. So, you know, one person with one couldn't figure it all out. But if a bunch of, quote, flat earthers actually had one of the damn things and a bunch of them were in different places on Earth, it's, you know, for triangulation and other stuff, it would go a long way to map building. Easier than trying to pinpoint a moving, like, ball of light, having meow meow sun chasing festivals.
Meow, meow, meow.
Or moon chasing festivals.
Final answer, Jim?
But, I mean, yeah, final answer.
Okay, but have you asked your question number 5, Jim?
I think so, probably.
Ooh,
What's for supper?
It's mystery question time now then. Mystery question time. You go first, Jim.
Well, it's a funny personal question, but favorite food? Apples, oranges, turkey, chicken, beef, pork, fish.
Ooh. Well, for me,
You have one favorite.
probably fish. I like fish. I don't know. I don't trust food anymore, Jim. You know, to me, food changed in the 90s. It's never been the same. It's getting worse. It doesn't seem like real food anymore. And I suppose fish. You know, you go to a fish shop, a shop for fish that you know they've come in off a fleet of ships. You're guaranteed it's a fish. Whereas everything else that you buy in shops, I seriously question it now. What the hell are we eating? So, favourite food for me is fish. Yeah, I like meat. I like fish. Seafood.
Yeah. I actually bought a pack of chicken wieners. I boiled 3 and I took the first bite out of the first one, and it was not like a hot dog. It was, you know, I don't know. I won't, but it didn't. It's not the same chewiness as a hot dog. It's more rubbery and stuff. I won't get very descriptive and narrative, but I threw the rest of the pack out and the whole thing away. I ain't buying rubbery chicken no more.
Yeah.
Wieners.
I think it's about 60% soya now anyway.
Like having dick in your mouth or something. I don't know
Oh,
what
it's
it's
not
like.
there,
I
it's
don't
not
want to
there.
find out, but that's where it's going with that. So, favorite food? I don't know. For one, what's your favorite? Chinese.
Question to you one.
I would have to say Italian homemade lasagna.
Wow, that's a big one for me too.
Ooh,
But
I like
I'm into
spaghetti bolognese.
soups. I love my vegetable soups and stuff. Carrot soup, mushroom soup, leek soups. I'm just a soupier. I just big on soup.
Final answer?
Final answer. I'm a soup man.
Right one, you want to ask your mystery question?
Well, I kind of oh, I guess what belief did you have before this that was just absolutely blown out of the water as being true when you learned this?
Ooh, tough question. What belief got blown out the water? I didn't really come into flat Earth with a lot of beliefs, to be honest. Well, it's got to be the globe, you know. The globe's been blown completely out the water. We've watched it for the last few years get blown out the water. It's a ridiculous theory. I can't believe we bought it. How the hell did we not see this before? You know, when you find this, you find lots of ways of debunking that globe yourself. How the hell did we not see it before? So yeah, it's been a pleasure watching it get blown out the water. Final answer.
For me, it's how they juxtaposed anatomy with geology and turned all these petrified giants and titans into a whole new science of rocks. And I bought every ounce of it. I know my geology pretty well. I know, my semi-precious stones, all this stuff, their compositions and where to get copper out of rock and mercury and all this stuff. I know my stuff. But I believed it from, the taught perspective that it was geology, that rocks were damn rocks. No, rocks are petrified giants for the most part. So, I should have been taught anatomy when looking at mountains and hills, and I was taught lies. I wonder what anatomy really is. Geology? Final answer.
You asked yours one yet? Last down to me now, is it? Last question?
Yep.
Right. My mystery question for you guys is, what is your message to the world? And please don't hold back. You first one.
Oh, holy cow. That's a pretty big question, I guess. I would say my message is don't stop seeking the truth because you will find it if you look. And rule all of your decisions with whatever feelings feel good and not anything from the negative. And that's it.
Final answer?
Yeah, that's it.
Question to you, Jimbo. What's your message to the world, mate? Strong silent type, huh?
I guess I've seen a lot of people come and go in this world, and partly what they worry about is their legacy. And the legacy I remember of a lot of people is not what they had, but who they were as people, how they treated themselves and others. And I really believe that's your only true legacy. So, try to treat yourself well and others well, and that's probably the best legacy you can leave. And try to live with some truth and find some truth. Final answer.
Final answer, yeah. Nice one. I prepared for this one actually, so I've got a little speech. Because I knew what the question was. My answer, well, my message to the world is this. Consider our research. We see a very big picture of what is going on and the way our world really works. We see the corporate takeover of the developed nations, the insane politics, which until this research didn't make any sense, the illegal wars they cause, namely in the Middle East. Know this, your illegal bombings and use of our militaries is not supported by the citizens of these nations. You do not bomb Syria in my name. Brits voted against that which makes you politicians pushing this nothing but war mongers. Bypassing parliaments is a dictatorship. You're no different than the people you were pretending to bomb. We know what you hide and what you seek. When these politicians come knocking on your door pandering for your vote, ask them not what they can do for you, but ask who they really work for. Who do you work for? They don't work for us, the people. They have their own agenda, an empire built upon lies, that they will go to any length to hide. You people working for them. Do you realise they hide creation and a creator? Do you realise they plunder the creator's glory and play with the technologies like kids with a new toy? How would you feel knowing they can destroy this amazing creation? They're hiding their real purposes for using this technology, which can be used to fake biblical events, heavenly events, destructive worldly events, such as tornadoes, typhoons and earthquakes, tsunamis. What are their intentions with this technology and why do they hide it? You ask why they would hide the shape of the world? We're showing you why. That's my final answer.
That was a good answer.
Yeah, I prepared for that one. But that's what we're looking at, you know. At the end of the day, this isn't a game. They're playing with this technology. What are their intentions? They're hiding it, you know. They hide what they're doing with it. They hide what it is. Are they sinister intentions the world should be afraid of? Or are they just harnessing energy and making money on the side from charging us for free electric? You know, at the end of the day, all they've done is put a smart meter on the end of something that was already here. What are their intentions? We need to know this. What are their intentions? These people hiding this. How high does it go? We see how high it goes. This goes high in many countries. It's not something you can hide easily. So yeah, what are your intentions with this technology? Let the world know. Yours the truth. We're here for the truth. The whole truth and nothing but, whatever it takes. We'll pursue this to an end, whether it be us or someone else. We've done the base of the research. It's just going to progress. We'll find what it's capable of, don't you worry. Just remember that, you globalists. We're looking over your shoulder. And final answer number 2. That's where we're at, you know. It's not a game. We're not here playing games. We're not here for drama. We're not interested in any of that. We're all about the research. You won't find us having anything to do with drama, but we have been dragged into it in the past. And if you want to ask us questions about that, we'll honestly answer you what happened. Been a few events where myself and Cats have been tarred with a brush with unfounded bullshit made by actors in this community. But I'm hoping you can see through that and see we're all about research. That's all we're here for. We just research. That's all we do. Deep research. The deepest. How deep do they go on those quakes? We're down there somewhere.
Like 700 and some kilometers I've seen.
So yeah, I hope them questions that you sat and listened to, you guys in chat and anyone else that listens to this, hope they give you a bit of peace of mind about who we are. You know, you don't know us, we don't know you. We keep to ourselves for the most of the time. We support Flat Earth in any way, shape or form we can, but when it comes to certain models and pushing of certain things that haven't been proven, yeah, and of course now, you know, they go against the model we're using, we're not going to support it. If you're going to push a model, you're going to have proof it works and shows how it works, and we'll look at it. But currently, we think we've got everything we need here. We know people in the community do like to join in, but like I said at the start, this research comes with preconditions. We have to take a lot into account before we, you know, let people start working on it. And it's a lot to jump in on. I mean, if anyone can progress this further in any way, shape or form, let us know. We're listening. No, we're not keeping it to ourselves. We're putting it out there. We're hoping people can add more to it that we haven't seen yet or make sense of. But for the most part of it now, it is going to be a very nice working model that you can demonstrate to the world anywhere and shut all these idiots up that think it's a globe. Because this is how it really works, in our opinion. This is our honest, genuine research that we're trying to do. We're not telling lies, we're not acting. Like I said, we're here for the truth, whatever it takes.
Shania Marie Kramer.
Jason said in chat, be careful about letting people in on the work. Yeah, don't worry Jason, you know, people would be vetted closely. And like I said, it's as needed. If people can add to this and, you know, they're in tune with it and accept it, because that's what you've got to do. You've got to put everything you've learnt aside and accept what you're looking at and deal with it and realise that's the reality you're working with. That's what we've all done. We've all fully accepted what we're working with. We know what it is, we know how it works. So we're not asking you to believe anything, we're asking you to take a look at our research and consider it, that's all. You want answers? We think we've found plenty of answers that point us in the right direction of the world's mechanics. Nothing to hide here, guys, but apart from a little bit of anonymity just to keep us hopefully not getting a bullet in the back of the head at some point. But yeah, we really have to consider things like that.
However crazy it sounds, you know, it's hard to accept that if you're looking down from Google Earth at the face of a Titan that's 240 miles wide, the Titan is well over 1,000 miles tall if he stood up. And, you know, it's like looking at the illustrations on the back of a cereal box, you know, they're a little abstract, but not so abstract you can't make out, you know, what's there. And this Titan is there. Many others are there. If you can't see them, you can't really help with the research. And there are a lot of people can't see them. Even if its face is 240 miles wide, you can see where its head's bashed in. Just look all you want, and you don't see it. Well, there's a reason you don't see it.
Yeah, we know how people feel when they come to Flat Earth. Everyone wants to help, and trust me, if we could find a way for people to help, we would let you. No worries, but these preconditions kind of get in the way of things, and you've got to fully work with and accept what you're looking at with this. You know, we can't have people coming in saying, no, it doesn't work like that, it works like this, because that would contradict what the three of us all already agree on and see working. So you'd have to come into this with the understanding we've got by just following our research really, and realising it's, you know, this is the model we follow and we'll pursue it to an end.
Yeah, and like the reason we believe there are huge metal plates is because we can see them. We can see the edges of them in newsreels. Underground with geologists showing off pretty rocks. But I mean, you know, they are what they are. And again, seeing them laid out with the maps, there's still people who say, oh no, just a coincidence, oh, just because, you know, you made it match up that way, blah, blah, blah. No, these plates are there. If you can't see them, how could you help us? You know, people wonder why, you know, if they can't see them and they've looked at the stuff and they continue to refuse to see them, how can they help? Who are they helping? We're looking.
Yeah, those are nice questions and answers. Hey, that went on for a few hours. 3 hours we've been streaming. That flew in. Anything you want to add to any of that one?
No, not really.
Any more surprise questions you want to ask that you've thought of since? Same for you, Jimbo. Any questions popped into your mind since we started? And the same for you guys in chat. Any questions you want to ask any of the panel members? Nice and quiet. What's going on?
I was talking to the mate button. I'm still mate'd here, probably. Hello? Hello.
I hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, as far as, you know, the Antikythera machine, whatever, anyone can go to Wolfram, get that reader, and pop it up and play with the dates, have it run through almost like, you know, autoplay, if you will. Just, you're interested in the sun and the moon, and, you know, it's quite the tool to have, you know. You know, if you're into that, everyone should have it. You got a bit of room on your drive or a stick, you know, get that software, take a look at this device. Again, the same device, you know, hooks up to 8 planetary gears and gives their exact position at all times. Never fails. Same damn machine. I mean, how can you make a machine that, you know, looks like a gearbox and have it calculate perfectly the sun and the moon and 8 planets? Forever. On your basic 48 month, it has 2 cycles, 2 scales it can work on, the 48-month moon cycle or the 256-month 19-year cycle. But it don't matter. It just keeps going from one to the other. It doesn't have to be changed, reset, or modified. Forever, it'll give you the location on any date of sun, moon, 8 of the luminaries. So is it worth it? For the research, it probably is. For just people, you know, on the plane, it's not bad. Nice little toy, you know. Hey, imagine, you know, you're out with your laptop, there's an eclipse going on, you put in your date and time, and you can see it adjusting on your little Antikythera device and watch it in the sky. Hey, there you go. It's just lining up perfectly. Amazing how it works. And they make like it's all complicated and difficult and real science to predict it. Like I say, a 5-year-old on one of those boxes could predict another 1,000 years worth of future eclipses and, you know, moon phases. And with the extra gears, planetary positions. You can't do that on a Big Bang hurling galaxy out towards Great Attractor, hauling 8, 9 planets in tow with a planet with rings of rocks around it. Silly, but in any case, final answer.
Final answer. You got any surprise questions, one? I've got
Sure,
Cat's
let's
size.
take it along.
I've got Cat's mystery question if you want it. Red pill or blue pill? Question to Jimbo. Red pill or blue pill?
Blue is reality.
No, blue's going back to sleep.
Oh, red pill. Take the red pill.
Question to one. Blue pill or red pill?
Red.
Ditto. Red. Yeah, I want to know. That was Katz's mystery question.
We have to know. Without the truth, we can't truly reach our potentials as our conscience, our higher conscience. We have to realize and understand exactly what we are, exactly what our world is, where we came from, and how it works.
And the Giants have left us a very good impression of that in the Nazca lines, detailing heavily what the hell's going on in the underworld in technological
And
form.
a few simple, beautiful devices to play with for all time. Couple of gears.
Oh, I'd love one on my desk, one of those to play with.
No
A brass
kidding.
one of those, yeah.
Well, I was thinking too, because I looked a lot about them a couple of years back, the astrolabes in particular, and many of them are 8-inch, 8-pound astrolabes. Now, let's face it, you don't need it to be 8 pounds of brass. It doesn't have to be. I figure even 8 ounces, 3/4 of an ounce for disc 1, disc 2, whatever, shave a lot of that weight off, because I don't want to haul around 8 pounds. You think about it, it's like 2 bags of sugar. I mean, it's just too much weight. It's just ridiculous. But, metal is metal. It's strong. If it was thinner and it only weighed like 8, 12 ounces, which, you can make a solid brass, beautiful astrolabe and 8 ounces of metal, get rid of the 8 pounds and $400 price tag and, make one a few ounces that's durable and, costs way less, but is accurate and durable and don't weigh 8 pounds. Ridiculous. Who would ever bring it anywhere? Yeah.
I
Son,
don't know about you guys, but I'm parched, so I'm going to go and grab a cup of tea. I'll be back in a few minutes if you want to carry on, or you want to carry on a bit longer, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah. Right, I'll be back
sure.
in a few minutes. Tea break if you want, guys. Go and grab yourself a brew.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Be right back.
Me too. Alright, I'm back, guys. I don't know if you guys are.
Like Mr. Cotter used to say, welcome back.
Arr.
Arr.
Looks like one's back. I can see you're in chat. Also, more good news, guys. I was talking to Sanders Bonacci again yesterday. He's showing our work now to some other people. I'm not sure who. He's going to let me know, I suppose. But when someone like Sanders
Right
looks
on.
at it, you know, he's
You
recognised
enjoyed it?
Oh yeah, he's loved it. Yeah, I sent him lots of information on scriptural translations of the mandala, because you know all these translations to me they point at the mandala, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, isn't it? Piece of the plate. So yeah, he's pretty sure he's fully on board with it. I mean, he's been watching it for a while anyway. I remember showing him a while ago, and he was kind of speechless at what I was showing to him, and then he started elaborating on it. So he recognised it straight away. You know, he converted straight away to what he was looking at, you know, with his own knowledge, which is pretty cool to listen to. You know, he could elaborate on things I hadn't even thought of or knew about.
Well, the
So-
awe is almost a mandatory part of going through this, a speechlessness sort of phase.
Yeah.
Back.
Welcome back,
Welcome
man.
back.
Thank you.
So when Santos comes back, I'll give you updates on it, and he will be coming in with at some point on the stream on here. Not sure when. You know, I'm not going to push it. Just when he's ready. Now that might be before or after the next presentation. If it's before, you know, that'd be better because we can show him some of the videos in the background that we've been doing as we're discussing things, and you know, get his terminology on it. He can give this a lot of words that I can't, and some better descriptions of things. And you know what he's saying, it'll make sense to a lot of people. He's got a big following, Santos. He's quite good work, and it definitely overlaps with this. You know, we do need a Santos overlay basically on this. What he shows will fit over this like another glove. We've got three
what
arms
fits,
now.
certainly, you know, if it's related and it truly relates, it'll fit into this somehow, into the overall.
Oh yeah, well, you know, in
Sort of like
his
kind of the
terminology,
keystone.
he's just describing how the world works, what the sun, what all these meanings in the Bible are actually telling you. And it makes
Can I
sense.
say
It
something?
makes sense. It's you know to do with the mechanics. Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to just talk about what we're talking about in chat because it's easier than typing it. But they're talking about gravity is where it began. And I said that NASA actually had a list of the most gravitized places on Earth, which is a BS term because gravity is, you know, a big force that does all these magical things. But what I see those places as being is actually where our deep earthquakes hit, which tells me that what NASA is calling the most gravitized places on Earth is actually where these technologies are deeper in the Earth or below it. And so, therefore, if there's a larger one or deeper or abundance of them in one area, they're all spinning and working, and they're going to cause a downward vortex type of energy, I suppose. I'm not.
Magnetic.
Yeah. Okay. So a magnetic energy, and it's going to pull things downward with the energy. It's almost like if you were to spin something really fast in water. Well, what happens? The water sucks down and it makes a whirlpool. It's the same thing with the gravitized places on Earth. And you have anything else you can add to that, Jimbo, maybe?
Yeah, I'd like
I
to
can
kick
add some,
Sir
but yeah, go on,
Isaac
Jim.
Newton in the teeth right about now, because again, there are rules that apply in physics, so-called Newtonian physics. You know, a body at rest stays at rest. There are rules pertaining to potential energy. Now, an apple that's growing in a tree, well, the tree gave, you know, pumps and pushes, whatever, to get water and cells and everything to hold that mass above his head, in theory, if the story is true. In he's a real person. But anyway, that's stored energy now. It's stored, say, 5, 6 feet off the ground. Well, you know, there's your half pound of stored potential waiting to fall and find a place to rest. Because once that stored energy falls, it'll be at rest, right? And it's not gravity pulling it down. It's just stored energy. See a rock on the ground, usually it'll stay there a long time till someone picks it up, holds it a few feet in the air, and drops it. There's nothing to do with gravity. It's just you gave it potential energy and you dropped it. Same like Mike Tyson with the microphone. I mean, he holding up potential energy, the weight of the mic, lets it go. Air, a fluid, cannot support the mic, it falls to the floor. Not gravity, but the mic was given from a place of rest somewhere, some potential energy. It was held over midair and dropped. Nowhere does gravity come into the equation. It's just a magic convoluter that they invented. Bolshoi.
Good observation as well, one about the deeper ones, because they're the, going by scripture, you know, Satan was cast into the abyss. What that's telling you is these technologies that were a lot more powerful to be anywhere near other machinery had to be relocated deeper. And these are the main drive units, there's 8 of them. You look on the grid, there's 8 main drive units hooked up into the technology at 0.0. So whatever is at 0.0 is the drive mechanism for all this technology, it seems, and a lot of it also seems to be radio controlled. So yeah, good observation. The deep ones, they're the most powerful, and that's what CERN's become a copy of. I'm pretty sure CERN is a copy of the one they call Shiva or Satan, and that would have to be one of those deeper technologies. Now they were put deep. They were put deep for a reason. Now CERN's is nowhere near the depth the others are. So what kind of problems is that going to cause by having it shallower?
Well, one of them is buried, I guess, in the desert somewhere under a lot of rocks. I'm not sure if that'd be Australia under that I forget what the name of their rock is out in the middle of.
Yeah,
Big red rock.
Ayers Rock, yep.
Ayers Rock, I guess, yeah, Air Rock. Or, you know, maybe under the Himalayas, one of the round sections of the Tibetan Plateau might be below that.
Well, one said previously, Jim,
kind of indicate something below.
One said previously, the one at Ayers Rock, the earthquake tremors are at a 0.0 depth. So it's right below the surface. Only
right on the ground,
it's hidden by a large rock.
Yep, and very magnetic because terrible lightning storms there. You don't want to live around there because you'll probably be fried by lightning. People live miles away from the rock. They're very few. They know how to be well insulated from the storms. But it is a point of high attraction electrically.
And also the accelerators being placed closer to the surface makes sense if they are receiving the signals, because when it accelerates, it shoots it back out. It's going to be at a more shallower level, which always leads to larger activity. The shallower it is, the deep quakes lead to the shallower activity. So if they put these accelerators around the world, which they have, and you have them on a map, FPV, and they're near these deep spots, which they are receiving these very deep signals and coming out around these areas as larger, shallower movement, which causes damage and loss of human life and everything else that's on their agenda, taking the land. Oh, this is a disaster. Everyone needs to leave, and while you're gone, we're going to just take it over.
Look what they can do so easily. You put some cameras underwater near some pipe junk and blow out some oil, and now you report to the world, oh, it's this many millions of barrels a day, and it's a, you know, and you're really doing that anywhere to create a situation where you give yourself the right to evacuate people for miles from the beach and stuff. And sometimes not let them back. You know, because sometimes once they get people expropriated from a place like that, find all kinds of reasons not to let them back, you know. And it doesn't have to be a real event. you know, create the illusion with a few newsreels and clips and promote it and have it posted to ABC, NBC, Fox, everywhere, and it becomes real. I don't know. I really don't know.
It's like a 3D bullshit printer, isn't it?
Pretty much. Yep. Well, they take fake events and then they, you know, people doing them know they're fake, but they pump them around the world like they're a real massacre or something. What? When you got cops changing from their uniforms into combat gear and laying down to pretend to be a bad guy? And then they pump that as real, you know?
We're talking about gravity and chat. Well, we can
Oh,
answer
yeah. Gravity.
it. Zero
Yeah,
gravity, you know, the zero gravity was invented as an excuse to what's holding up the luminaries. That's why they invented zero gravity. It's an excuse to what's holding those in the sky. Now we know zero gravity is bullshit.
Yeah,
So
and even
in
the
theory,
zero gravity plane is not zero gravity. Sorry.
in theory, they should be dropping out the sky, you know, and they're not.
And not all. Oh,
So that puts gravity as total bullshit as well, you know. Of course, zero needed an opposite, which they call gravity. So zero gravity doesn't exist, so neither does gravity. It's just been a lie. Buoyancy and density. If it's heavy in there, it's going to drop. It's as simple as that. All in favour? Aye. Yeah, so you don't need to actually discuss gravity, discuss zero gravity. Once it doesn't exist, there's no opposing
it's like
force.
the G plane, there's no such thing as a zero G plane. Once the plane hits its apex and starts down, you're falling with it at the same speed it's falling. Now, when it levels out, why you see them impact so hard is because they're moving downward very fast, and then they impact with the plane that starts moving laterally. They're falling fast. That energy they have to make up for it. They hit the floor.
Question in chat. Thank
Well, you're not going to get back to where you started, really, are you? That would only work on a globe.
Okay, you're starting off at the equator, so your nose is pointed due south, like the south pole of the Earth, right?
Well, he said flying along the equator, so it's either pointing east or west.
Oh, east or west. Okay, so now you're sideways to the north and south poles, with the center of the Earth at your belly, with the Earth rotating under you, under the equator. Are you flying east or west? Let's see. What would be longer? See, if you were flying towards Africa from South America, from east to west, that should go pretty fast, because you got almost 1,000 miles of spin extra underneath your belly. 1,024 miles. You should lift up, and the Earth should move at 1,024 miles underneath you an hour.
But on this model, you know, you wouldn't go west and arrive in the east, or go east and arrive in the west. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. You would keep going east or west, regardless of, you know, it's you got to imagine it as a very large plane going beyond what we know. And you go west, you're going to keep going west. You're not going to change direction unless you change direction. It's not going to flip. It's not going to magically teleport you back to the east like the 4D model assumes, and it's not going to go around the top half of a globe like the AE map kind of shows. It's just going to keep going west.
And it's a good place to do the experiment is the equator, where you take a .5 caliber rifle, fire a shot dead straight up in the air. The Coriolis effect should be moving your gun away from that bullet at a 1,024 miles per hour. You should be safe from that bullet in a few seconds. The bullet is in the air for a minute and a half, but it'll land at your feet. It could kill you. So there's no spin to this Earth. Otherwise, you would be saved by the Coriolis effect at the equator, shooting a bullet straight up. But nothing but hope that the bullet lands and doesn't hit you in the head.
He's discussing the flights, Jim, but yeah, it's not how it works. You know, they're assuming you go west and you're going to arrive east. That doesn't work on our model. It can't work. You would just keep going west until you were shot down by globalist stopping you want to go any further, or you would fly into the Halo system and
or run out of fuel,
or run out of fuel, yeah, or possibly exit the realm into some other place. Who knows?
But like I say, there's no spin, so there's no point in saying, well, you're at the equator and flying this way or that way. When you build an aircraft, you calculate the Earth as a stationary plane with a stationary air mass above it. You calculate a flat Earth. I mean, it's for ballistics, when you shoot artillery at point A to point B, you don't do any Coriolis calculations. You calculate a still fixed Earth, a flat Earth. That's in the Palumbo missile documentary and guidance systems. All the missiles and guidance systems are programmed to a flat Earth, a flat stationary Earth, not a spinny ball arcing, going round and round Earth. So, I mean, if you pull out the circuitry from a Tomahawk missile or any surface-to-air missile, you know, it's flat Earth, freaking telemetries and calculations done in those babies. When you paint targets that are 60 miles away with lasers, it's flat Earth. You can't see your target 60 miles away and paint it with a laser on a ball. Railguns, they send a bullet straight for 100 miles. Well, 100 miles is a mile of arc or curve. How can they hit a target 100 miles straight in front of them if there's a mile of drop and their target is well below where the railgun ammo is going? Don't make sense. It's flat.
Jason just said there in chat, Amelia Earhart's good answer, but she's not made it all the way. Rest in peace, Amelia. That's right, yeah, she wanted to make a new world map. She was heading towards the eastern portals or gates, whatever word you want to use for that. And
she landed, she was alive.
Apparently there was, Jim, apparently recently there was a documentary on. I've never chased it up or looked for it, but it suggested she was given the wrong coordinates, and that's how she was captured by the Japanese.
Oh, it was suggested by an American shortwave radio operator woman who was young at the time. She listened to several appeals or calls from the lady after they crashed, and she even recorded a fight with the her navigator, I guess, or her co-assistant there, the guy who was with her. They had a physical fight. She was on the radio trying to get help, and he manhandled her off. So, yeah, I don't know. I think she was taken out personally. She survived a crash. It was probably an assisted crash, and then taken out later because she didn't die in the crash, you know? It's like the joke about, you know, I had 3 wives. 2 died from eating poison mushroom. Mushrooms that had, you know, poison mushroom. Well, what the 3rd one die from? Oh, she died from hits in the head. Oh, why did 2 die from eating poison mushrooms and 1 die from hits in the head? Well, the 3rd one wouldn't eat the poison mushroom. But that's the way the system goes. She wouldn't eat the poison mushroom.
Yeah, sad but true, yeah. She was going against their wishes, so yeah, she had to be taken out.
They gave her the option, and
you know, these people, I think they're going to manage flights from pole to pole and ships going down to Antarctica. It's fantasy talk. You would be, destroyed before you get anywhere near it. They would destroy you.
Lindbergh, they had the Lindbergh kidnapping, all this stuff, all this to destroy it against a guy who could fly almost anywhere, you know? Throw in extra fuel, get a compass, and go learn some secrets. How do you keep him distracted, you know? kidnap and murder his baby. I mean, that'd go far for that little project, you know, shut him down. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's funny that, you know, these are great pilots, apparently, you know, no question, you know. Amelia Earhart, great pilot, you know. Lindbergh, I don't doubt he was a great pilot. Why did they both have such shitty luck? If they were local pilot hoppers, you know, wouldn't see much, but, you know, deliver mail runs and stuff, I mean, they wouldn't have had the issues that these others have.
Not only that,
Why are
Jim,
these explorers that much different? And
I was going to say, Jim, not only that, you know, when you apply to go on these kind of flights, you have to do them within certain time frames. You know, clearly they're trying to hide something with the time. You know, they'll say you have to fly past here.
And more weather, yes.
Yeah, not just weather, you know, they're hiding what you might see. So some flights might have to go like the dark. It's even with shipping, you know, the Bering Strait. You look at the Bering Strait, I think you have to be escorted through there. Why do you need escorted? Because you might see something.
Because the land that you see over there is not really Russia, it's a mirage.
Yeah, and on the opposite side you got Alaska.
You might sail towards it and try to step on that miragey land over there.
So that bit of land that you can, I think you can see a lot of piece of land that they claim is part of Russia, and you're looking at it from Alaska. Now, if they claim that it's Russia, they've obviously put some guys in Russian uniform there to give that impression. That will not
when
be.
When you go north from the northernmost point in Canada,
whatever's west of Alaska,
not Russia.
Whatever's west of Alaska or northwest of it is not Russia. It's somewhere else.
Yeah, they tell you it's an optical illusion. You see land, but if you sail to it and sail to it, you'll still see land, but you'll never get to it. What bullshit. It is land. It is other land. And that's the fable, the story that, you know, most people with a rowboat would, you know, adhere to, because it's a long row. You know, even a sailboat, you know, want to make it both ways. You got to know your winds a bit. You know, if you take off in one direction, you don't know if you're going to get the winds to come back, you know. You're at the mercy of the sea. But anyway, up north, they say there's more land. You see more land, but it's all an illusion, so don't bother going. Now, who's kidding who? It's an illusion. Is that a polar bear I see? I know it's an illusion. Are those spears being thrown at us? No, they're illusions. Is that killer whale eating my leg an illusion? So.
Did that sun just come up with the ground over there? That can't be right.
Yeah, well, like I say, I mean, and, you know, gullible, limitations, whatever. You know, someone tells you that land you see over there is just an optical illusion, don't ever try to go there. You might respect that. I would, to a degree. Lie or not, I wouldn't really know, you know, I wouldn't question it. Now I would, but then I wouldn't, you know. If I had a boat now and someone said that to me, knowing what I know now, that land you see over there, it's not land, it's just an optical illusion. Okay, yeah, right. Give me more fuel. I'll go check it out myself, you know.
Platinum says in chat, so the way north is either through Canada or the Russian Federation. Well, you can go around the edge of Alaska or up past Iceland or sneak past the Bering Strait to go north.
North of our Inuit people there, yeah, Bering Strait, just straight up north from the Inuit and from north.
We did look at shipping, and we didn't see any shipping at all going any further north than Iceland. So all shipping is seems to have a restriction as far north as Iceland, from what I can see.
Well, they got more airports there than probably most of Europe now. So no, they've got probably near 100 airports built up there, where there's just supposed to be like water and a little bit of oil underneath it. Maybe a spot of island here or there. It's a whole lot of airports for nothing. It's impossible they're there for nothing. They're a way station. They fly in goods and materials to fly to others beyond. It's just the way they move stuff logistically.
And as reported, Jim, by them nice honest Canadian people around you, They've noticed the flights, heavy volumes of flights flying north, northwest,
Oh yeah, over
and
Quebec and
coming back on a
Brunswick.
southeast kind of trajectory. So yeah, lots of hidden flights up north.
Well, they're United Emirates, Arab Emirates are coming over the north. Why not? You know, it's Africa. You have to fly north and over Europe and through England and across Newfoundland to do what they should be able to do easier on a ball. But that's beside the point. I'm not going to argue with it. But yeah. Oh, they played a lot of games. Airplanes that do a kind of flipperoonie, you know, like you're turning a pizza in the oven or something there, so it don't burn at the back. Yeah. Here we're flying northwest. Ooh, now we're turning around like on a freaking turntable, and now I don't know where we're going, but hey, it's pointed in one direction and it's flying there. My gosh, what a... I'd pay for that little joyride, that little extra tidbit on a flight. I really would. It's like going around the mulberry bush or something. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, attach your seatbelts. We're doing the maypole maneuver. Here we go around the Mary Bush. Anyway, moving right along. Jeez. Fly north, you know.
I think that's
You
where,
live in the
Jeep,
deep South
that's why they wanted
Africa.
GPS on aircraft, so they put it in autopilot and it does all the sneaky banking that you don't notice till it gets to where it's going.
It's funny, if you live in South Africa, you have to go almost to the North Pole to get to the South America and deep south in Chile. How come? Anyway, just...
What people should do, you know, when they're flying is never mind the, you know, on your mobile phone you've got GPS, but that has to sync with the aircraft mode or whatever it is, which I think overrides what it's really telling you. So you'd have
Oh,
to
I
take,
call it
hold on
ground
Jim, you'd have to
positions.
take your own standalone GPS on board and see if it matches what the original's saying, 'cause I don't think it would. You know, if you can take one on
No,
board an
you'd
aircraft,
almost
I bet
have
it'll
to
differ.
resync some of these systems or a bunch of the machines and do tests with the new orientation without their algorithms and their bullshit. Then you could get real data. I don't care if it's coming from the state, the data's skewed. Distances from city to city, everything. They fucked it up. They fucked around with it. Sorry, they mucked around with it. You know?
Nuts and bolts.
If there's going to be a readjustment, like with Google Earth, you know, that algorithm that curves everything, got to go. We got to see it flat. You know, oh God, is that so hard to figure anything out with that stupid ball? What nonsense, and all their aberrations and algorithms and fogging out this and fogging out that. Oh, those people. I could just go through there with, I don't know, the whole Russian army and clean it out. But it's offensive. But, you know, maybe one day there'll be a truly good kind of like flat Google Earth for people, the real one, and have a good representation of everything, and be able to see more of the stuff without all their obscuring and BS, you know. It's only fair. It's not too much to ask for. Show us what's damn real, you know. Airbrushing out like Hindi gods and Hindi statues and historic places. And what gives you the right to airbrush out someone else's culture? Really? You know? Are they that afraid of it? Name of Vishnu. Get with it.
It tells a story, Jim. That's the way they don't want you to see it.
It's a mystery to me. Mystery. It's a popular name in India. Mystery. It's a mystery to me. Moving right along.
It looks like India's joining the space garbage bullshit, doesn't it? I wonder what their what's their gift for joining the crap? Are they gonna?
Oh, India's got its
Yeah.
caste
Are they
system
gonna
and
get?
its
You know,
Illuminati's, their
what's
British influence.
what's their presence? Are they gonna get an accelerator like China for their involvement?
No, I don't know. They do the satellites and blow a lot of them up apparently. So they're in the disposable insurance, you know, system of things with the space agencies. Yeah, we'll insure all this garbage and, you know, junk for 30 million. That enough? And blow it up for them. And I'll collect. They don't even have to have junk on board this shit when they blow it up. Makes a good show.
I see people still using that space footage, space footage, where you see things moving around. I commented on it earlier because Roger on Mud Fossil University was quoting some space stuff and using some footage NASA had put out, which people assume was in space, but when you study it,
CGI.
well, no, it's not even that. They had a camera in the water, and what you were seeing was pond life swimming past. That's what you're really looking at. It was an
What were you seeing swimming past?
pond life. They obviously had the camera in a pool that they hadn't sterilised.
Pond life.
And you was, yeah, little creatures in the water. You know, it was if you look at the footage, it's underwater. And these things streaking across the face of it were just
Could
creatures
have
caught
been
in the light.
astronaut Hamamine.
No, it was just a pond, an unsterilised pond, and you were just seeing the pond life swimming around. That's what it really
Well,
was.
it could have been little swimmers of the astronauts or something. They could have been having some fun earlier.
Nope,
Ooh.
definitely pond life. Trying to pass it off as being in space.
NASA, more chlorine in the water. We're seeing astronauts spew swim by.
More than likely to be one of those water skaters that walk on water going past.
A Martian water skater. Because we gotta have stories of water on Mars. There would have been little spiders with those 4 legs that float on water there.
Hey, we've been going for 4 hours now, guys. You want to call it a day?
That'd be good. I'd get some lozenges and get my voice back.
Yeah.
How about you, what?
How about you, one? You want to go a bit longer, or?
No, I'm fine.
Does that mean end stream or carry on?
And we can end the stream, yeah.
Right, okay, we'll shut it down now then, guys. So yeah, thanks all you people in chat, you lovely people that's come and listened and tolerated us for 4 hours. Thanks for listening in. We hope you take on board the research we've been doing. Take it away, consider it, see if it works for you.
Sorry if we missed questions too or anything. It's unintentional. We just get caught up in, you know, the gab and just... So if we missed anyone and their questions, we do apologize in advance and try to get to them later. Maybe watch it. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll be back sometime soon with a nice presentation to show you all as well. Look forward to that day. What say you guys? Aye.
Have a good night, all.
Yep, have a good night.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Good night. We'll catch you another time.